Hello, everybody. This is Joseph Pasek, and welcome to the Fired Up Network. Welcome to the flagship show of the Fired Up Network, Fired Up Live. A little bit later on tonight. Usually we start at 7 o'clock. Today's 7:30. We got a good show for you tonight, but before I begin, some sad news to report in the Western world. Leaping Lanny Poffo, a.k.a. The Genius, has passed away at the age of 68. Also, I'd like to take this special opportunity. Several birthdays are coming up in the next week. I'm going to get through them right now. Today, good friend of mine, Jack Casassi, happy birthday. Tomorrow, a guy who started me in the media business in the Toronto Star back in 1992, Norm DaCosta, also happy birthday tomorrow to Howard Berger. Also, Saturday, February 4th, happy birthday to Nina Bembihi. Monday, February 6th, good friend, Alan Small's birthday. Happy birthday, Alan. Wednesday, February 8th, yours truly, Daniel Spencer, referee of Fired Up Network, and the grizzled young veteran, Marty Roberts. February 9th, also my cousin, Heather, and you're going to see her just a couple seconds from now, Courtney Riddell with the Renaissance Mama, February 9th. So all week, birthdays galore here. As mentioned, we're going to get to Courtney Riddle, the Renaissance Mama, big part of the Fired Up Network. Femme, here we go. And also, the Blaze will be back hopefully next week or the following week, and we're talking about having a Valentine's Day special. More details on that next week. Here we go with Renaissance Mama.
Hi friends, I'm Courtney. I'm a performer, speaker, and a writer. I'm a mama to 3 crazy boys and a super sweet dog. I decided 12 years ago that I needed to create a business that worked for me instead of me working for it. I'm a multi-passionate entrepreneur who may be considered a serial entrepreneur by some, but then I realized that all of my businesses focused on connection, community, and creating an incredible experience. I cannot wait to share with you how to make small but mighty changes in your life to affect your overall well-being and create a life and business you want to get up in the morning for. That's right, my friends. I am the Renaissance Mama. Hi, friends. It's me, Courtney, the Renaissance Mama, and I am so happy to have you here today, checking out the show. Whether you're watching, listening, whatever you're doing, I hope you enjoy it. So today's show, it's all about... It's telling you an experience, something that happened to me, and I want to share with you some of the lessons that I took away from it. So first of all, I got to tell you, I have to set up the whole scene so you understand sort of what happened and how it happened, and then we can go into it further. So I'll tell you the whole story from beginning to end. It was about in the fall, and I had been working really hard on growing my social media. I was looking specifically at Facebook and Instagram. I had spent probably the last month and a half building my Instagram. I was putting constant reels out there. I was getting more followers, a lot more engagement, and I was really getting proud of my numbers because I was taking the time. I was putting in the effort. I was putting in that constant content, and it was paying off. It was great. Same thing for my Facebook account. I had started a Facebook page for the Renaissance Mama, along with a few other business pages I had going. They were growing, things were happening, I was putting out ads, everything was looking great until it wasn't. So this is what episode is all about how I lost all my social media accounts like that. And what I've learned from it, because I feel like if I can walk away from any situation, learning from my experience, I guess it's not so bad in the end. All right, so I'll go from where I was. So I has, did all those great things with my social media. I was super pumped. Things were looking really good until all of a sudden it wasn't. It was one evening I had just decided to make some big decisions on my digital course, and I put some deadlines and I started advertising, and I was so pumped. I was contacting all these people through my Facebook account. I was really making a plan to make my digital course something incredible. I was finally ready to put myself out there and let the world know, hey, I'm working on this amazing thing. I want you to know what it's all about. And all of a sudden, I got an email from Facebook saying there's been some strange activity. Some sign in, was this you? That's how quickly it all happened. I looked at the email. I went to respond to it to say, no, that wasn't me. By the time I did that, it was all frozen. Facebook was. Instagram was gone. So this was a huge shock to my system. I didn't know what was happening. I didn't know how any of this could happen. And I was very, very confused. So I hopped onto my Facebook, where I tried to, but all of a sudden it had this big error, and it said that there was something wrong with one of my business accounts because I have multiple pages, because I have multiple businesses. So not only did it freeze one of my business pages, but it froze my personal account as well, because it's all connected. And Instagram, because it was connected to my Facebook page, took everything away right then. They didn't give me a chance to contact anyone. They didn't, give me a number or say anything was under review. It was just gone. All those months of hard work, all that time that I created content, all those hours that I made the schedules and I showed up and I posted and I was vulnerable and I was sharing things and I did all that stuff, it was gone. That was on my Instagram. I went back to my Facebook and it says, okay, your account is under review. There was something posted on my business page. I don't know what. They don't tell you, but something that didn't align with their rules. Okay, so it said it will be under review. It usually takes 24 hours. Fine. I was patient. Well, 2 days passed. 4 days passed. Then it got to be about a week later, and I still had heard nothing back from anybody. Now remember, during this whole time, I had literally just started kind of a mini launch. I was super pumped. I had made these great decisions for my business. I was trying to share. I was trying to put ads out there. All of this stuff was on hold because I no longer had those social media accounts. Everything I had just worked towards was gone or under review. So after about a week's time, I was like, no, I can't wait any longer. I've got no patience. So I started emailing support, emailing this, emailing that. Once again, I couldn't get a hold of anybody. There was no one to talk to. There was no one to share my story. There was no one to say, hey, wait a second. I got this email. Someone got into my account. Something happened. I don't know what. There was nothing. The only thing that kept coming back was, it's under review. It'll take 24 hours, which clearly it didn't. It took longer. And the whole time there was this countdown of, you have X amount of days until your account is gone forever. That's all the friends I had on there. That's all that content I've had for 10 to 15 years. Facebook in particular has been my social communication to so many people I've known for so long. I have pictures up there of my kids when they were little. I have pictures of pre-kids. It was insane. So I once again waited, hoping that what was said on this account, that they'll get back to me, they'll review it, they'll figure it out. They didn't. I waited the whole 30 days. I finally started Googling every trick, every hack, trying to find some way to get a hold of Facebook to let them know what had happened. I was able, through a little bit of a loophole, something I found on Google, to apply for something else and get a hold of somebody. I explained the whole story to them, and they pretty much told me, we're not the right people you need to speak to. You need to speak to this people. but I couldn't speak to those people. No one would respond to me. There's no one to call. No way. There was no communication. Long story short, sorry, it's not short because I already shared with you the long story, but after a month, my account was gone. Everything from my business account. So this is where business accounts are still on Facebook, but I have no access to them. They just exist there. And I can't claim them, even though supposedly after 30 days, and it's 6-7 months now. My Instagram was gone completely right off the bat. There was no chance to make an argument. There was nobody to even talk to because it was connected to my Facebook account. So it's gone. I had to start fresh. I had to start all over again. But what I want to share with you guys today is the lessons I learned. The lessons I learned that I am hoping you can take with you. I am hoping that using some of these tips and tricks may prevent something similar happening to me, going to happen to you. But I just really hope that I'm able to share some of these concepts, some of these ideas, because let's be honest, as business owners, as people in general, we spend a lot of time on social media. And I, for the longest time, was like, well, I'm mainly on social media because of my businesses. That's how I communicate with people. That's how I share. That's how I do this. I teach people how to get comfortable on videos to get their social media growing. I love creating social media campaigns for businesses. I love using that part of me. But this was a huge eye-opener. So I'm hoping today I can share with you some of the lessons that I learned, and I am hoping that this could possibly help you in the future. Okay, lesson number 1 is I think every business owner needs to get very clear on what social media is to them. Like I said, I do believe every business owner has to be on social media. I think it's the reality of our society. I feel like that's how we make that first connection. So one of the biggest lessons and takeaways I took from my horrible experiences is we do not own social media. And I've heard that before. I've heard it so many times that you are just on that platform. You don't own anything about it. At any time, someone could, like mine, hack into it and it's gone. At any time, that platform could change their algorithm. At any time, that platform could say, hey, wait a second, I now want you to pay me X amount of dollars for every follower you have. You never know. You don't own it. You don't have control over it. But I still think you need to use social media as a business. I feel like you have to. I feel like it's part of it. So instead of having social media, any platform, be a place where people can, contact me or learn anything really important, I am taking social media as the handshake. It's people's first impression of me. It might be people's second or third or fourth contact with me, but it is not a place where I am sharing too much value. It's just not. It can't be. I can't spend hours creating content on something that really could be taken away forever like that. It doesn't make sense. So I have no problem posting. I want to post. I want to share. I want to give value and content, but I'm not spending tons of time creating it. It just doesn't make sense. If you were thinking, if social media is that first contact, that handshake, that hello, would you spend hours planning on how you say hello to somebody, how you make that first impression? No. Because that doesn't make sense. But so many business owners think like, whoa, I have all these followers, I have all these likes, I'm getting engagement, but I can't sell anything. I don't get it. Social media is not a place for people to sell. Social media is that first impression, that contact. It's building the know, like, and trust factor. But think about it for yourself as well. When you're sitting on social media and you're swiping and you just want to be entertained, you may want to learn a little something, you'd like to see something, but you're not in like buyer's mode. You're not in the mode to like really take action. You're kind of just chill and relax, or at least I am. I don't know. So knowing what social media is to your business, I would say is the first and biggest lesson. I still think you need it. I still think you use it, but maybe making sure the amount of time you use to create things is less. Taking less time to spend on social media, looking and swiping and doing all the things might be a good idea. But I think just getting really clear on what that social media means to you and making sure it aligns with who you are and your business. If you're posting things just for the sake of posting things, then it might not be lining up for what you want to be sharing. If you are constantly on social media doing something because you think someone else is doing it, it might not align with who you are and your business. So I will 100% admit, after my incident, we'll call it, after that all happened, I have spent so much less time on social media. So much less. I was able to build my Instagram account back up almost to what it was before, when I spent every day doing a reel, tons of hours planning and putting all that content out there. I was able to do that again. So why spend tons of hours and do all the things because you think you have to? You don't. So now I have a timeline of when I want to post things. It has a purpose. It's connected with what I'm doing. I share some, valuable content, but I'm also not spending tons of time and effort on social media content. I want to be the handshake. I want it to be that little, hello, how you doing? Hey, it's me again. Hey, thinking about you. That's what I want my social media to be. It can't be anything else, because I'm not putting the time and effort and everything into it if it can be taken away so quickly. The next lesson I learned about my horrible experience was you need to back yourself up. You need to make a plan B. You need to do some preventative measures to hopefully make sure this doesn't happen to you. So one of the things I think, and I knew this before, but I think things just got busy, life happened, and I thought everything is good, so I don't need to do this. But if you have a business page on Facebook, make sure you are not the only admin on that business page. Get a friend, get a partner, get anybody else, and they don't have to be in your business. That's not what you need. You just need access to that business page. So if it's taken away, or if your personal account's taken away and it still exists, that's what's happening to mine right now, you still have access to it. You're still able to get in there. You're still able to post. You're still able to do all the things. You don't have to start all over again. So that is a huge way you could make that a little bit safer for yourself. The other thing that I'm trying now, and I'll let you know how it goes, but this time when I got my new accounts, I got a new Facebook one, I got a new Instagram, and they're saying, oh, put them together. I did not. I did not do that this time, because last time when my Facebook and Instagram were connected, when Facebook was, having the issues and had all the problems, my Instagram was taken away without even a conversation. All those hours, all that content, every single thing was gone. So this time, I'm not connecting the two. Yes, it is easier if they're connected. It's so much easier to post on one, share on the other, have them communicating back and forth, but I want to keep them separate. I want to make sure that if anything were to happen on either account, it's not going to mess up the other account. So something you may want to consider if you're using both Facebook and Instagram is keeping them separate. This might mean a little bit more work in the long run when it comes to posting. If you're posting something similar, it's not as easy as boom and share, but I think taking that extra step for me right now makes me feel a little bit more comfortable, makes me know that if one thing were to go wrong, it's not connected anymore. It's not going to immediately turn off the other. Okay, so the third lesson that became so clear when all of my social media was taken away from me is that I need to get all of these people that I'm connecting with on social media, get them off of there and get them on some sort of email list. Get their contacts. So if, once again, your accounts are gone and taken away from you, you can still contact those people. I told you guys, I was in the middle of, I'm not even kidding, like talking with probably 20 to 50 people because I had just started this mini launch. So I was having all these conversations on Facebook Messenger and I was like, hey, this is what I got going on. And I was answering questions. I was going back and forth. Well, all of that went away when my Facebook was on hold. When they took my personal account away, I was in mid-conversation with all of these people trying to sell my product, trying to share my service, trying to share this new incredible thing I was doing. And all of those conversations just stopped. They were gone. And I realized a lot of those people that I was in conversations with, I don't have their phone number. I don't have their email. I didn't have any other way to contact them. I could even say like, hey, sorry, look, this is what happened to my account. Nothing. So people just thought I was ignoring them. People just thought, well, I guess her business isn't happening. No, I guess that service isn't going on. Nobody knew what was happening because I couldn't tell anybody unless I saw them in person, unless they were my very close friend and I had them on text message, or unless, you forget that communication, especially if it's a communication that you value so much, which I did. I valued all these conversations I was having with people. You forget that it could be taken away from you. So you need to make sure you are finding some way to get people's contacts. So the easiest way is to get them on an email list. And I've shared the importance of email lists before, and I always kind of knew it. But once again, this was such an eye opener. You need to get people's contacts, emails, phone numbers, whatever it may be, whatever you are more comfortable with, you need to get them on a list so you have that communication. You have that extra step of closeness. Like it's funny. I have a friend the other day who we were chatting back and forth on Instagram Messenger, and we see each other in person all the time. Our kids play sports together. That she's been over. We hang out and finally she said, wait a second, can I just get your phone number? I feel like we're there now. And I was like, yeah, of course you can. I didn't even think about it. But that's what these conversations should be with all of your people. You should be like, hey, we're here now. We're this close in our relationship. Can I have your phone number? Can I have your email? Can I have that next step? Because if you've already built that communication, you've already built that, connection, you need to move them to the next step. So if you're talking email list, sometimes you're kind of barely chatting with these people. They might be brand new to you and your business and what you know, but that doesn't matter. You still need to get them on an email list. So a great way to do that is a freebie, an offer that they're like, oh yes, I need this right now. You can make a free PDF. You can make a free checklist. I've done in the past free sample classes of something that I'm doing. I want people to check it out. So for them to check it out, they've got to give me their email address. You can give people free coupons. You can give people, even just get them to sign up to your newsletter. That one's a little bit harder because people are like, I don't want too much in my mailbox. I'm like that too. And trust me, there's lots of days where I swipe through my mailbox and I don't read every single message. But it's nice to know as a business owner that if everything closed down tomorrow in social media, I can still contact those people. I can still make the messages I send to them even more personal. I can still give them a better sequence of how they interact with me. Because once again, you realize on social media, you could do 5 posts for a day that you're like, okay, I want them to see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in that sequence. Maybe they only see 1 and 4. Maybe they only see 2 and 5. So now if your message was broken down in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and they only saw 2 pieces of it, it doesn't make a lot of sense. Whereas if you send people an email sequence, even if they might not read it right then, they might get back to it later, you can give them that guideline. You can give them that story. You can give them the setup you want to. You can connect with them in a much better way. So if that is the only lesson you take away from all my social medias being taken away from me, it means to get people off social media and connecting with you. Up on Instagram, say, hey, I'd love to connect with people. DM me and I'll give you this freebie. Or if we want to learn more about what I do, DM me, get talking with people. And then once you get talking with them, get them off that social media and tell them what else they can have, how else they can learn from you, how else they connect with you. It's like that conversation with my friend. Like, can you just say, hey, listen, I like chatting with you. This is cool. Can we move to the next step? Can I get your email? Can I get your phone number? I think that's where we're at now. If you keep people on social media, that's all they are. They're not going to really take your business all that seriously. They might not move to the next steps. They may not ever buy from you because they're just, they're just checking it out. They're just seeing what's going on. They're not really building that know, like, and trust. So you got to take them to the next step. Get them off social media and on a list. The next lesson I learned, and something to think about when you are posting all this content and you're creating all of this stuff, I had this really bad habit of creating content. Let's say it was a reel, especially on Instagram, because it's so easy to press the button, create a reel, do some fun little thing, post it, do my tags, boom, 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 done. And then later on, I would delete that content off of my phone, off of my computer, because it was up there. It was up in the social media world. It was all good. I had no backup. So, not saying that every single piece of content I put out into the world is like super important, but there is a lot of really good stuff that I spent a lot of time and effort designing, planning, creating, and posting that I need to start thinking about having that put somewhere special. So once again, if things were to all go away tomorrow, that wouldn't be the only copy of it. I would still have that content in a folder or a file or a Google Drive, but it would be accessible. So I could share it again. I could tweak it. I could post it on somewhere else. There's so many times, and I tell people this, is that you could repurpose your content, but you can only do that if you're keeping your content somewhere. If it all of a sudden goes away, like mine all did, I didn't have it anymore. I didn't have access to it. It didn't exist. I will say for Facebook, my personal account, they did give me an option that I could download everything, which I definitely did because I was terrible at being that person of just posting stuff on Facebook and assuming it will always be there, or have somebody post and tag me and I'm like, oh, I love that picture. That's so great. Assuming that it will always be there. It won't. So take that time in your day to, if you love a photo that someone tagged of you, download it, keep it, put it somewhere that you have control over. Put it somewhere, file, that Google Drive, whatever it may be, but put it somewhere that it's yours and that you can have access to it at any time. So especially when we're talking content that you're creating, like I said, not everything may be a masterpiece, but it would be nice to reshare things again. It would be nice to go back and look over things and be like, hey, remember 6 months ago, I posted about this. I definitely still agree about it. Or maybe I don't. Maybe I have a different viewpoint on something. But I would say if you're creating content consistently, if you're putting stuff out there in social media and taking the time to create that content, I would highly suggest you start putting it somewhere else as well. Don't just put it on social media and assume it's always going to be there, because it may not be. So take that extra time to put it somewhere else, have access to it, and then it could be something you use again in the future. The last thing I learned, or I really had to kind of deal with when I had my big incident, it was the fact of, do I actually need or want social media back in my life? Trust me, I was waiting patiently. I was hoping things would get better. I was being pretty naive because that's what I thought would happen. I thought it would all be fine. They'll figure it out. Things will be good again. But it didn't happen. So I had to decide, do I want to start my accounts all over again? And if I do, why am I starting them all over again? Once again, I think this goes back to that purpose of social media. Is it going to be for me mainly for business? Because remember, that's what I was saying before. I was saying it, but I was also really connected to a lot of people and friends I grew up with. I loved seeing how their families were going or what they were up to, which is fine, but be clear what that social media is to you. So I did decide I would start a new Facebook account. I'm just now doing new accounts for my businesses because I did think that eventually they would be able to connect to my new account. It hasn't happened yet. It's been 6 or 7 months. So be very careful what you read on the internet of how to fix these problems, because they say one thing, but the reality is something else. So if you do decide you need to be back on social media, I once again would get very clear on maybe making limits for your social media. That's what I've done for mine. I am posting, but definitely not as much as I did before. I am creating content, but not as much as I did before, and content that I am keeping and putting in a file. So if it does go away, I still have it. I am making sure that there is more than one admin on all of my business pages. And then on my personal account, I'm really taking the time to slowly add people back. I think because I had Facebook for so long, I had so many people on there that I didn't know who they are. I didn't know what they were all about. I just had kept adding people. I had recently joined a whole bunch of Facebook groups for businesses, and it was overloading my feed. So I've decided that's not the route I want to go this time. So I'm being very aware of who I'm adding, why I'm adding them. And then, like I said before, if I want to be in a communication with somebody and I'm starting a conversation, I might have one quick interaction on social media, but I'm very quickly getting them off of there. So saying, hey, I'd love to give you more information. Can I grab your email? Can I grab your phone number? Can we continue this conversation somewhere other than social media? There are so many articles and different things to look at if you are considering maybe pulling back on your social media. I've heard it definitely takes stress away from a lot of people. People can sleep better. You really get rid of that FOMO. You have an opportunity to focus on what you're doing. For me personally, I knew I still wanted social media with my business. I knew I wanted to be able to place ads. I knew I wanted to be able to share content, to share my weekly shows, to connect with people, to build my community. I knew I wanted that, but I'm doing it in a very focused way now. I'm making these choices. It's not sort of just all happening for me. And I'm still making sure I have that backup plan. So hopefully, fingers crossed, something like this won't happen again. But if it does, I'm prepared for it. All right, my friends, that was all the tips and tricks and lessons I learned when my social media was hacked and all taken away from me. I would love to hear from you now. What is the biggest takeaway maybe you've taken away from this episode today? Continue the conversation. We're on therenaissancemama.com. because that's my website, right? I'm getting people off this show. I want to connect with you. I used to share, you hop on social media, you can connect with me that way, which we still can. But if you want more, if you want a deeper connection, if you want some of my freebies, some of my great opportunities, you want to connect even more, visit my website. My website is mine. I have control over it. You and I can continue this conversation there. So that's at therenaissancemama.com. All right, friends, I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I really, really hope none of this ever happens to you, but I hope you take a few steps from today to hopefully, if it does happen to you, it's not as bad. It's not the end of the world. So bye for now, friends.
Well, thank you to Courtney Riddell, Renaissance Mama, big part of Fired Up Network and female empowerment movement. And check her out, therenaissancemama.com. Now, February is Black History Month. During every show, we're going to endeavor to get one of the persons from Fired Up or Fem to talk about Black history. Tonight, we have Captain Canada, Drew Ebanks of OnPointBasketball.com. Here it is, Captain Canada and myself about Black History Month. Hey everybody, this is Joseph Pasek and welcome to the Fired Up Network. Welcome to the flagship show of the Fired Up Network, Live. And February, not only is it my birthday, it should be birthday month. All right, Drew, should be birthday month. I'm still waiting for my present. It's also Black History Month, and no better, a big proponent of Black history and kids and of course basketball and all that. Drew Ebanks of On Point Basketball. Check out onpointbasketball.com. Now I'm gonna it's a little bit different this time. We joke around, we do basketball and all that, but Drew, I'm gonna ask you, Black History Month. Growing up in Toronto and in Canada, what did it mean to you? And now, 40 years later, 50. I gave you a present. I would have said 60 years later, but 40 years later, do you see the evolution of it becoming something more than just Black history? Because honestly, everybody say Black History Month, but Black history should be every day. Like people should be every day.
Well, yeah, you make a great point. I mean, obviously, when you're young, you hear about Black History Month, and you first wonder, why do we get the shortest month? First of all, that's always the big joke there. But in all seriousness, yeah, I mean, Black history is world history. I mean, we've been around since the beginning of time, so it's really, when you think of it, to put us in a box to say, hey, 1 month you celebrate, being Black. I think obviously, as you said, it's a year round. We're here. We shape a lot of times pop culture, fashion, the arts, the whole nine, sports, and we still, I think, have a ways to go as far as respectability, as far as being looked at in society as, intelligent people who have contributed a whole lot to the world. The struggles obviously continue. It's sad that in 2023, you're still looked down on because of the color of your skin or your religion or, who you choose to love, which is absolutely ridiculous. But I don't know, in our lifetime, I don't think it's going to change. But all we can do is try to continue to be good people, and do good by people out there and try to make change for the next generations coming up, Joe.
So, big groundswell last year, 2 years, was Black Lives Matter. Okay. Now, and I'm going to say this, I can't say it because I'm not Black, but where is it now? Why did we talk about Black History Month, but why is there not Black Lives Matter every day? Or it comes for a week, something happens, and then it goes under the carpet. You know what I mean? So, what is going on? How you're Captain Canada, and I always say this on air. God, it's my birthday next week, and I'm putting you over for once here. But the whole thing is, I always say, you should be credited for bringing basketball to Canada and all that. What would you change? Black history, Black Lives Matter and all that. What would you change here? Because you have a vision of, basketball and now it's thriving 20 years later. What would you change? If I say, you have the book here, what would be the first thing you implement for Black History or Black Lives Matter or anything?
Well, I mean, I think traditionally the powers, the purse string powers have not been in the hands of many Black people, as far as CEOs of corporations, people put in leadership positions. I'm hoping, and I know that's changing slowly. That now you'll have more people of color, people from the Black culture being able to make decisions in order to help grow a sport like basketball. So I think the obstacle that I've faced coming up with On Point has been, that part of it, maybe trying to amass capital to scale the business, or sponsors. It feels like we prove it. We can put on events. We know what we're talking about. We have great following. But a lot of times when it comes down to cutting that check, that's where the obstacle starts. And I think it's really telling, because for Black people, especially in business, funding our businesses is the toughest part. Scaling our business is the toughest part because of the lack of access to capital. We don't know necessarily a lot of us, millionaires or people that have income that could, say, invest in companies that we buy, make or create. And so that's kind of where it's tough. Since Black Lives Matter and the whole George Floyd movement, there has been an effort by many corporations to reach out, the government as well, to give loans and grants to Black businesses, which is great. And also another focus on Black women's businesses, which is doubly great as well, because I believe in the States, they said Black women are starting the most amount of businesses in the whole country. So the key to any business, as you know, Joe, even with Fired Up, is you show and prove, but how do you get the capital to scale your business and take it to the next level?
Well, I'm still fighting that also, but
yeah, exactly.
Here's the whole thing, and I'm going to say this. We talked about Michael Jordan, okay? We talk about LeBron James, and I'm just mentioning because they're Black. We talk about the Rock. I don't have to tell you, a good friend of mine, The Rock. These guys, I don't know if you know this, Drew. The Rock has a little bit of shekels. LeBron James has a little bit of shekels. Michael Jordan has a brand behind him that makes $300 million, and he hasn't played in 20 years. All right? What about these guys coming together and forming an alliance here for you guys and for the world? Because how much money is enough? The Rock, for example, makes billions and billions and billions. Michael Jordan, what was he? $288 billion last year or whatever. We're talking about B, not me, not M. B, billion, right? So put it together, and I'm sure, because when LeBron James talks, everybody listens. When Michael Jordan talks, everybody listens. The Rock is going to be giving away a Grammy Sunday. He comes from wrestling. Now he's an actor. Now he makes movies. Now he makes everything. And you know what? He's Black. And everybody, The Rock, I don't have to tell you, the most in-demand guy in the world. So when these guys talk and put something together, something can happen. How come nobody puts these guys, Oprah Winfrey for that matter, put it that way, put them in a room and wrote something so we could build future?
Yeah, I mean, it's a great point. And I know others have tried to come together with that kind of net worth. When you even add in some of the guys like Jay-Z and maybe Kanye, if he had his mind right, Beyonce on the music side of things, and you combine that with the sports side of things, my goodness, you have a major conglomerate. You do see, guys like Jay-Z, like really in with the NFL and really kind of putting their foot down as far as being a viable partner, not just a celebrity guest or an endorser, an actual partner. You mentioned Michael Jordan. People criticize him because he never really took any stance on issues like LeBron James, who's done that a lot. I think there can be more unity. I mean, when you even think of that, how come Michael Jordan and LeBron James have no relationship? I don't know where that comes from, and I don't understand. I mean, imagine if those two alone paired up, Joe. The fact that Jordan, by many people arguably considered still the GOAT, LeBron James climbing up that ladder. Some would say he's already passed MJ. I still think that Jordan is the GOAT, but in a couple years, who knows, depending on what LeBron can do. But those two, something has to be cleared up between those two. I don't know where the rift has come from, or the apathy for not wanting to come together. But imagine Michael Jordan and LeBron James, them alone heading up a conglomerate that actually, as you said, could disseminate funds that they probably wouldn't have to accumulate on their own or take from their own net worth, and help young Black and brown business people to kind of get a leg up, get that capital so they could scale businesses. That alone, no one's really talking about that. Why don't Michael Jordan and LeBron James have any sort of relationship? It's a shame.
And for that matter, you mentioned basketball. Let's give Masai Ujiri, president and everything of the Raptors. He goes to Africa, and I don't have to tell you, it just passed the Giants of Africa, and disseminates money and all that. So he's leading the charge there, and not a lot of people are talking about that. That's Masai Ujiri, of course, in Toronto, and leading the charge. And I know his phone's ringing with OG and all this trade deadline. We'll talk about that next week. But, there's a perfect guy to bring these guys together and say, look, it's about time we stand up. We stand up for the greater good. Because if you have Masai, LeBron, Oprah Winfrey, The Rock, from everywhere, like Dwayne Wade, even with Gabrielle Union and everything like that, if you get from hockey, baseball, basketball, entertainment world, everything, then somebody is forced to listen. And when you're forced to listen, Drew, I don't know if you know this, when you're forced to listen, change happens.
Mm-hmm.
Change happens. And that's what, look, we live in Toronto, and I'm going to say this, maybe it has nothing to do with Black History Month, but since COVID, the rate of attacks on the TTC, the rates of, look what happened, somebody stole the car and drove through Ron Mills. The rates of going crime is up. And what's happened when you stay at home, and you got to stay at home, you got to fight for your life? Why can't people just get along? Forget about black, white, Black Lives Matter, everything. Everybody, we're put on this earth for what? To respect the commandment, to respect mother, father, to respect one another. Where's the respect?
Yeah, you're right. I mean, I don't know what's happened to society since COVID. It's like, a lot of the young people have just said, you know what, to heck with it. We're not getting what we want. We're just going to do whatever we want. And you see these instances of crime like that, and just disorder and dysfunction, and, not following tradition. And people are afraid. I was thinking actually yesterday about this, putting up a message on my Instagram just saying, come on, young people, this is not the way to go. I mean, you can't really make excuses for your life just based on some hardships. Yes, COVID has hit everybody tough, but the way I see, things just in a free fall right now, it's very disheartening. And it's something where I think, you can see the politicians are trying to address it. Things like extra police is fine, but I think it's beyond that. And I think something that affects the Black community, the brown community, the BIPOC community even more is you're funding for programming, you're funding for community centers, you're funding for after school programming, things that are going to divert kids' attention from committing crimes or getting in with bad company, and actually doing something positive with their life. But if you just think of society like, hey, we're just going to bring in more police, bring in more cops, that's not the solution. You have to be proactive. When we were coming up, it was great. You could get a factory job. You know what I mean? Like, you could buy time until you finish your university or college degree, and you'd earn a pretty good living doing it. Now there's more competition, and it just seems there's not a lot of opportunities for young people, especially young people of color, young Black men especially. A lot of help right now needed, especially in the some of the tougher communities out there, disadvantaged communities, under supported communities, where they just want to throw cops there instead of actually, let's sit down and figure out a solution. Let's create a job force. Let's create a media program for these kids to learn how to be photographers, videographers, graphic designers, media marketers, social media creatives, because that's where the economy is going. Another area I love to support, and I'm going to get involved in more, is STEM. So your science, technology, engineering, and your math. In order for Black and brown kids, and in order for every kid to be involved in the new economy, with AI and technology and all that, and the new medicines and all that, you need to know math. You need to study, and STEM is a huge part of it. And I think especially with young Black boys, there are some programs right now. There needs to be a lot more focus on keeping kids in school, getting them tutoring, and then upping their math scores and their math levels, because no matter what you look at it, how you look at it, I mean, math can be a big part of a lot of job future.
So let's get back to a couple good points there, but let's get back to a couple of things. When we talk about Black History Month, growing up, like I said, what was your first thought of, growing up? And did you feel like you're Black, you got to stay away from it? Or did they everybody welcome you in? You were in, my neighborhood and all that. We were kicking the jams, playing basketball and everything like that. But how did you feel? Because let's face it, there's some kids now it's probably even worse than when you were being brought up.
Well, I mean, growing up, I mean, as much as I was in Toronto, and Toronto is a multicultural place, there were the numbers of Black kids when I was really young going to school. It was there was a good amount, but it wasn't like today per se. Yeah. But also, even when you look at it, teachers that you could look up to, Black teachers were few and far between when I went to school, which was in the 70s, 80s.
60s.
Yeah, no, not quite 60s, but yeah, it was tough because you didn't really see role models in the teaching aspect. I don't think
your role model.
Pardon me?
Who was your role model growing up?
Ooh. I mean,
I know Joe now, right? But
obviously, I think my mom, she was everything to me. Definitely a role model, because she worked hard for us, without even, at the time going through a separation and divorce, and then, really taking care of myself, my cousins, a couple, my girl cousins, as well as my brother and I. Definitely my role model growing up, and then I think maybe there was a teacher that I had, Mr. Robinson, I think was something where I think he was my first Black teacher. And that was in, I believe, middle school. It might've been grade 7 or 8, something like that, Lawrence Heights Middle School. And just to see a Black teacher was kind of eye-opening for me. And it actually showed me that, you could be anything that you want to be. So I think that's the toughest part. When we grew up as well, a lot of the teachers, a lot of the guidance counselors for the Black kids would say, hey, go learn a trade. But, our parents would be like, no, why do we have to necessarily go learn a trade? Why can't we go to university as well? So there was that clash where we wanted to go to university, but a lot of the guidance counselors and the guidance office were pushing the Black and brown kids into trades. It's interesting as well, though. If you look at it now, the trades are actually a fantastic place if you're Black and brown, or if you're, from any community, because when you look at Toronto, even and the province and the country, the real estate boom that has continued for over 30 years. Imagine if we were in the trades, we'd be sitting on a beach somewhere. So it's just, I think, about choice, Joe. I don't think you should be able to say to a certain group, you should do that. I think you should be open that Black kids could be as smart and as successful to go into university as well as do the trade. So I think that's what a huge lesson I learned growing up in the 70s and 80s. It was, don't let anybody tell you where you need to go. Don't anybody ever limit you and tell you what you can achieve, because I've worked hard to do what I've done business wise. I have real estate. I have a career as well, two careers. So I think again, you can't limit yourself. The only issue as well is you as a person. If somebody's trying to limit you, you need to fight it. And that's the problem with a lot of people. They're not willing to fight it, and they get boxed in to where they should be.
And when you fight it, do you think nowadays you get casted at, like, he's hard to work with, or why am I going to work with him, or whatever? He has a bad name.
I think it's obviously being somebody that looks like me. If you're standing up for yourself, a lot of times, even in the workplace, people could label you something. The angry black person, or angry black man or woman. And I think that those stereotypes really hurt, because it's not that you're angry if you stand up for yourself. It's just that you want to express yourself, and you should be able to express yourself in a way. Even if you're not yelling and screaming, how can you be labeled an angry person? So I think the societal stereotypes are still there in many instances. The bias, unconscious bias is there. But for me, my goal was always, Joe, to be smarter than anybody else in the room. So it was like, I'd make sure that I knew what I needed to know and more, so that if anybody challenged me, I would have the correct answer. So I think that's the thing. You have to be, and we know that growing up, your parents tell you that as a black person growing up, you got to be 2 and 3 times as smart as anybody else out there to get your shot.
All right, so we're going to close it out with a little basketball talk, since it says even here, you copyrighted my name here, Drew, Captain Canada Ebanks. Who gave you Captain Canada? Tell the world here. Since I'm putting you over, tell the world now that you're taking my name and making it millions and millions and millions. How much money did you get from Captain Canada?
It's a lot of zeros, man. A lot of zeros. But yeah, it's good. It's good life, Joe. Thank you. Appreciate it. I don't even think I was the first one to be labeled that. Wasn't that might have been Steve Nash at the beginning, but I'll take it.
You're Captain Canada. I labeled it. I'm the president of provinces of Canada. I'm the mayor-elect of North America. When I talk, people listen. Now, we're going to talk basketball. 1 week away from the trade deadline. By the way, Drew, at the end of this, I'm going to ask you, you're going to ask me what I want for my birthday, okay? So 1 week away from the trade deadline. Now it looks like the Raptors are taking calls on OG. I think OG is going to be moved. I think they have the potential to get 3 first-round picks. Would you move him if you get 3 first-round picks and a player?
I mean, as much as it's hard to get, and we talked about this yesterday, those 3-and-D players, those wings that can defend, that can shoot the three, that can play defense, that are physical, very, very hard to find. But 3 first-rounders and a player, and possibly a player with an expiring contract, that's something that you can't turn down. I don't see how you could turn that down with 3. It'd be sad to see OG go. I don't know where all these stories come from. He wants out. He's not happy.
Well, he said he didn't want, and then all of a sudden he gets injured or whatever, and then we're taking calls. So there's something where, I don't, like they always say, where there's smoke, there's fire. Well, they're fired up there, all right? So OG maybe, probably. Now, does Fred, Gary Trent, and somebody else move?
Well, I mean, obviously Fred could move. There's a lot of teams that are talking. Every pundit out there is saying the Raptors are the team that everybody in the NBA is looking at as far as their roster, and Freddie could help a contender easily. I think Gary Trent Jr. can help any team as well, knowing that, he's going to be up for a big contract soon. They could move him. So, out of all of those, I'd rather keeping OG, but again, as you said, with that kind of capital coming back, you might not be able to keep him around just because of that. 3 first-rounders. Your team is not in the upper echelon. You're not really even in the mid-tier at this moment in the Eastern Conference. So it could be time to reboot and reload if you're Toronto Raptors.
All right. So, final thought. Every week here, we're going to have basically Black History Month segment with the people from the Fired Up Network and maybe some other people here. Give me your last thought on Black History Month. What would you change? I'll give it to you. Anything that you have thoughts in there that you want to relay to the fans here?
I just think that, the rest of society really has to have some sense of, you know, compassion for your fellow human. Doesn't matter what color you are. Remember, physiologically, scientifically, I believe we're 99.9% the same. Doesn't matter what your skin color is. It's just the pigment. It's just the amount of melanin you have in your system and your body. That's the only thing that's really is really different. Everything else is the same. So we need to get away from hurt. We need to get away from pain. We need to get away from hate, and just love everybody for who they are. I don't know if that's ever going to be the case, but that's where I've been as far as my relationships with people. I never judge somebody on what they look like, what color they are, what religion, who they love. I just meet people. If they're good to me, if I'm good, I'm usually good to them. If they're good to me in return, no problems at all. So I think for humankind, we are wasting so much time on racism, so much time worried about a person's skin color or shade, that we are not being productive in this world. We only have one world. Time is limited. We got to fight climate change. We got to fight all the other things that are happening, wars. We have to love. That's the number one thing. And I think when you look in history, historically, as Black people, we've been forgiving, we've been accepting, we've taken a lot of punches and turned the other cheek many times. I think now, a lot of times we're not willing to turn the other cheek anymore. So if you're not going to love us, then you have to respect us as a culture, as a community. And again, within the Black community, we have to be more united, more loving to each other, first of all, before we can accept, hold other people to love us as well. So we need to do a better job within our own community as well. Unite, come together. I think since the BLM movement, since George Floyd, I've noticed in the community a lot more people trying to support, say, Black-owned businesses, even Caucasians or even South Asians or Asians. They're looking at it and saying, hey, let's support a Black business as well. So I think, again, it's about humanity more than anything, Joe. We're all humans. And I think if we keep, living where we're at each other's throat and we're basing everything on the color, what you look like, or tribalism, you belong to this group of people, I'm this, I don't think that's the solution. I think love is the solution. Let's work together and make the world better, especially for the young ones coming up.
All right. Very well said. And Drew, do you love me? We're going to find out how much you love me February 8th on my birthday.
I'm not singing happy birthday. Yeah, I love you, but I'm not singing happy birthday.
No, I'm not. I don't need you to sing happy birthday. I need some cash, all right? Some influence of cash, all right?
We got to get this. We got to get fired up some sponsors and some investors. Come on, folks out there. This is a great organization.
You got 1 week, February 8th, man. I need it here. I need the cash and all that. But very well said. And honestly, Drew, like you said, everybody matters, but Black Lives Matter, because you started very tough, and it's still tough. Everybody's still tough here, and I don't even see, when we see progress, then a week later we see regress, right? So we got to continue on the up here, all right? That's Drew Ebanks, Captain Canada, On Point Basketball. Final thought, tell everybody how they could get a hold of you and any Canadian basketball news.
As usual, onpointbasketball.com and Drew Ebanks on Twitter, On Point Basketball on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. Canadian basketball, we're still doing our thing. We have our Platinum Circuit this weekend out in Oshawa. That is from Friday tomorrow to Sunday, and that's going to be a fantastic weekend of high-level prep basketball. So come on and check it out, the Sportsplex in Durham, off of Thixon Road and 401 in that area. Come check us out at the Platinum Circuit. And
next week we have a big event also, right?
Next week's is no. What am I thinking of now? We
Yeah.
start our
You can't
circuits.
watch the Super Bowl because you have an event.
Yes, our circuits continue, but also I'll be away in Ottawa covering an event as well. Unfortunately, Super Bowl's on Sunday. My Eagles are there, so hopefully I can
The
come back
last time
Sunday.
the Eagles were in the Super Bowl, do you remember where you watched it? Do you remember who you
Oh
watched
yeah,
it with? So
oh
I
yeah.
brought you good luck.
You did. I hope you're bringing me good luck, even though we're not going to be in the same
based on
room.
February 8th, see how if the president is good. I can talk to God and see, because I have a line there, right? I'm the
A
mayor and
direct
everything like
line.
that. So I have basic. If I get a good president February 8th, I talk to God and I will let the Eagles fly.
All right, there we go. Love
Fly,
it.
Eagles, fly. All right.
Let's do
That's
it.
Captain Canada, Drew Ebanks, onpointbasketball.com. Check him out. And of course, a great friend and a great person here. Black History Month. We can't forget it. Thanks a lot, Drew.
Thanks a lot, Joe. Appreciate it. Happy Black History Month, everybody.
That was Drew Ebanks, Captain Canada, onpointbasketball.com. Black History Month underway February. And throughout the month, we're going to endeavor to get the people of the Fired Up Network, FEM, maybe some surprises to talk about Black History Month. Now, as you know, the NFL has their Pro Bowl games, and also the NHL is now in the All-Star break. They have the All-Star game on Saturday, but let's get to some news here. NBA sort of scores here, just beginning first quarter, the Bulls lead the Charlotte Hornets 30-23. Also, Cleveland leads Memphis 51-47. Miami leads the Knicks 44-43. And Indiana leads the Lakers 84-72. Of course, the NHL is in the All-Star break. They'll be back Monday, but the Maple Leafs have a week off. Maple Leafs return to action in Columbus on Friday, February 10th, and then they play the rematch here at the Scotiabank Arena Saturday, February 11th. Now, we're going to be joined by PHF player, Toronto 6 player Taylor Woods, and of course, hopefully we'll have Justin Levine, the media relations director. Taylor's coming in right now. All right, Taylor, how you doing, first of all?
Hey, I'm not bad. How about you?
All right, first of all, you're still in Hamilton. How's the weather in Hamilton? Is it minus 88?
It's pretty cold, Like, I left the rink this morning because we got embroidered jackets by Athleta, but then I also had
Where's
my
mine?
Canadian. You got to put in the order.
Wait
You
a
got
minute.
to say
Hold on.
hey, like I need that jacket.
Hold on. I just got off the phone with Marty Roberts. You're a good friend. I'm going to say something. At the beginning of this whole show, I mentioned it's birthday week. A lot of people I know have birthdays this week. But next Wednesday, February 8th, it's my birthday as well as Marty Roberts' birthday. He's been blowing up my phone. I want to have that Taylor Woods jersey. I want to have, doesn't matter if it's red, doesn't matter if it's black, doesn't matter if it's white. He wants to have, what a great way, Joe, for a birthday present if we get that jersey. So, Justin fumbles all the time. Justin fumbles. So I'm going straight to Taylor.
Straight to the source.
Yes, his birthday is February 8th. I'm the president of the province of Canada, the mayor-elect of North America. I'm sharing see how nice I am. I'm sharing my birthday with Marty Roberts. He's a good guy, all right? He's a good guy. But for him, in case he doesn't come on, because I know he's working later and all that, are you going to provide a jersey for him and for me? Yes or no?
I got off the phone with FedEx today after we chatted too, and it's like it's express ships, so hopefully not like 3 to 6 weeks. Hopefully it's more like 2 to 4.
You don't know this. Okay, Taylor.
Nicely done, Taylor.
I'm going, hold on. Nicely done. Look at Justin Levine chimes in here. But what you guys don't know, she said FedEx. Do you know my future wife works for FedEx. She actually gave me the call and said, since it's under my name, they say 3 to 6 weeks. It's more like 3 to 6 days. So Taylor, do you want
36
to
days.
regroup? Because my future wife works for FedEx, so Patricia. So shout out to Patricia. So
Did they switch the Flintstone cars to actual cars now, or?
she drives the car. She doesn't drive the Flintstone cars. What? That's Justin Levine driving the Flintstone. Justin, you don't drive, right? Do you drive or not?
Not a Flintstone car, a real car.
So you drive the Barney Rubble car then, right? And Bam Bam and Kazoo and all. Anyways, all right. Before we get to the Toronto 6 weekend this weekend and all that, Justin, maybe you want to start us off. Last Sunday, we had the All-Star game, the PHF All-Star game at the Mattambee Athletic Center, formerly Maple Leaf Gardens. Take us through the atmosphere. You were there. Take us through, the crowd. Take us through a great concept. 3 games and very exciting games, shootouts and everything like that. Go ahead, Justin.
Yeah, I was there for about 14 and a half hours, give or take. It was a really long day.
Hold on. Are you mad that you were there for 14
no,
and a half
no,
hours? What were you doing for 14 and a half hours? Did you provide me popcorn? Did you get me some Coke? Did you provide Taylor some comedy? Come on, what were you doing for 14 hours?
So much it would blow your brains. No, I'm kidding. But anyways,
mainly he did nothing. Basically, Taylor.
That's aside from the point. It was a lot of fun. The entire day was a lot of fun, and look, if we start with the crowd, we had one side that was completely packed front to back. That was the side where the benches were, so that was excellent. The other side, it was a little more sparse, but it was still good enough. But I think we all wanted the place to be sold, but the environment was still fun. It was still super loud. There were a lot of young girls up against the boards, mostly the entire game. Namely, a lot of Boston Pride fans. But I think.
Look at Taylor's face. How can you say Boston Pride when this is a Toronto 6 show? What's wrong with you? You're the media relations for the Toronto 6.
Hey, did I say I enjoyed it? No, I just said that they were there. So we dealt with their noise, and there were some posters and some things said, but Kipling came in the clutch and refused to fist pump any of them. So kudos to Kipling for that.
Yeah, Marty Roberts did a good job there. All right, come on.
So yeah, it was a really fun environment. The 3-game model was different, which is exactly what the PHF strives to be. They strive to be different, and they strive to, be leaders, and that's exactly what everyone who took part in it was. And it was a lot of fun. And Team World, particularly, they come up with this celebration concept called the unicorn, which apparently the Czechia girls do for their practices.
100% Laska. That's 100% Laska all over it.
Yeah.
All
so
right, I did that. But Justin, can you get a hockey stick? Honestly, can you demonstrate what the goal celebration was? Demonstrate that.
I actually have one in the corner. I can grab it, but that. Having said that, basically after every celebration, they put the stick to the top of their head, and they call that the unicorn. And everyone did it. And as the night went on, Team USA and Team Canada started chirping back, doing the same thing. It just became this, funny little thing because it's something they do at the international level. Again, particularly the Czechs, and they integrated it into the morning practice and with the rest of Team World, and it became a thing during the day. And so much so that even the PHF dubbed it #TeamUnicorn on Twitter. And it was different, and the environment. It was a lot of fun. Everyone enjoyed it. Now, there was a lot of competitive spirit, surely, because these are short 14-minute interval games. So, the energy to really put everything into it, there was a lot of that. But there was also still a lot of fun energy. And at the end of the day, this event is to have fun, not be competitive. But then again, these are women wanting to trounce each other. So, that's what it's going to be. But all in all, it was a really great day. And, everyone really enjoyed themselves. And that was, to me, just seeing the smiles on their faces from like 8:30 in the morning till what time did it end? Like a little after 10. All day long. It was really excellent. So I'm really happy with how it went.
So the only couple things I want to say, and I'll get to Taylor in a second, with this celebration, somebody, since it was a Mattambee Center, formerly Maple Leaf Gardens, should have took down the stick and ride the stick like Dave Tiger Williams did for the Maple Leafs. All right, that's number one. Now you mentioned a lot of little girls there. That's great. What was there men and girls, boys, girls? Like, was it 50-50, or was it more dominated by the little girls there, or ladies?
I mean, it was a lot of adults, surely, but I think the one thing I would have liked to see would have probably been more, youth girls hockey teams. I think I even walked into the day thinking that the entire crowd would be full of youth teams, but it wasn't. It was probably families, friends, and all sorts of people off the streets who wanted to see what the product was that was and what the event was going on. Which was a great thing in itself, because that's how you grow exposure. That's how you grow this brand or grow this product and grow the game. So it was honestly a mix, and you know what? That's probably for the best that happened. So again, it was almost entirely packed. The ownership was there. The Boyntons were there. Bryant McBride was there. Digit Murphy was there. It was really quite an event, and the girls, everyone again enjoyed it, put on a show, and made the 2 days really worth it.
So I'm going to ask both you guys. I'll start off with Taylor because she's been quiet here. Originally you're from Winnipeg, but going into Mattamy Center, formerly Maple Leaf Gardens, when you go in there, even if you played, you didn't play and all that, and it's a historic, do you feel like more of oomph? Do you feel more like, wow, like the ceiling, I could see, they never did anything to the ceiling. It's still like Justin's room. You have to clean it and vacuum and everything like that. But what, like when you go into that cathedral, do you think it's like, wow, I'm here? Taylor.
Okay, so first off, there are a lot of gardens, and it's like, okay, like why would you call like a rink a garden, But
Yeah.
second, it's like I've played there, I've walked around there, even just having just the high caliber event like that, and then just hopefully maybe in the future multiple games, but like playing in there, it's just something else, right? So yeah, I really hope even having that fan experience too, right? It's just everything is thought out really well, and how it's architecturally made, and even just from the player side, it's a very luxurious arena.
Justin will be back in a couple seconds, but you mentioned you played there and all that. And dare I say, is the ice different? Is it like, you know what I mean? Like Maple Leaf Gardens, I think, 1931, they just celebrated it's going to be the 91st year, okay? But is it different? Like when, I know in Winnipeg or whatever, but, me, I'm growing up in Toronto, the Leafs are everything and all that. Justin's Montreal, but going to Maple Leaf Gardens, the smell, everything's different. When you're playing, is the ice even different?
It's pretty slick, like if you have to rate ice, like it was slick, and just smooth overall. Skating wise was a breeze. I don't want to remember that like the latest game that I played there, because it was not a good showing for my team. So everything else was fantastic besides the final score.
And the dressing rooms, when you go into the dressing room, I don't know what room you use, but is there pictures in the dressing rooms? Because I remember, Justin, you're also too young or whatever, going to Maple Leaf Gardens, going to see Maple Leafs games. I was there. My first job was a wrestling job. I'll tell you a story. Everybody hears about Harold Ballard, stingy Harold Ballard, and all that. Harold Ballard was the biggest wrestling fan. I used to go there and give Hogan towels and all that. Hulk Hogan he used to, hey kid, come here. Can you bring out Hogan and all that? So I went to Hogan and saying, the owner of the Maple Leafs wants to talk to you. Okay. I brought him out, and every time he slipped me $100. Every time Harold Ballard slipped me $100. Justin, you call Harold Ballard cheap? Gave me $100 just for calling Hogan out, just to break his shirt, too pumped up and everything like that. Come on. But for you, a Montreal Canadian fan, boo, like the Boston Brawley, boo, all right? Is it different going to Maple Leaf Gardens? Do you feel, because you've been to Air Canada or Scotiabank Arena and Rogers Centre and all that, but Maple Leaf Gardens, is there something different?
I think the aura of still walking into Maple Leaf Gardens is still surreal, even though it's, again, not the building it once was. You still know you're Maple Leaf Gardens. You walk into the rink and you actually look up to the roof, and that iconic sculpted roof it's still the same, and it's still the same building. So yeah, in a way, it's still surreal to be there, to watch a game there. I mean, for me, I was running around all parts of the building, and that was what my day consisted of, and it was really neat to really to work a game there, and to just see everything moving together or coming together so well, and again, having the first professional hockey game be played there since. I mean, it's been a long time since the last game was there. Joe, I know you'll probably know the exact date of the last game.
Lacrosse played there in 2001. I was there for the championship. 1999, almost to the day. I believe it was February 6th or February 13th. February 13, 1999, the Leafs lost to the Chicago Blackhawks, but we won't talk about that. But 1999, so what are we, 2023 now? So 24 years, almost to the day. Last hockey game played at Maple Leaf Gardens. So Justin, I'll go to Taylor. What was your memory at Maple Leaf Gardens, Mattamy Center on Sunday?
Team Unicorn. They kind of they stole the show. They really, really did. It was a lot of fun. They just brought this, this fun aura. Again, I think is probably the best word to use to describe this. And I don't think anyone expected it. But from the way I saw morning practice going with Erica Holst and Ben Lahovey, you could tell that it was going to be a fun day, and that's exactly what it turned out to be. So they were definitely my best memory from the day.
All right, Taylor, what would you say? And for both of you guys, what was the highlight of the weekend? I know Saturday, I think all the ladies went to the Hockey Hall of Fame and everything like that, but what was the highlight of the day and of the weekend, Taylor?
Well, even just seeing the talent on the ice, right? There's just a couple of just extremely nice goals. Leah Lum, she scored a nice goal and set up plenty. And then also Gable and Howard had a very good time, just passing the puck through people's legs, making people turn, right? So just showing that product is very nice to see. And it's hey, there's so many players out there that have this top level skill. And just having it just sort of in Toronto, right? Pinnacle of hockey. You have it at the Hockey Hall of Fame. And you have just all these big names, and also just from different areas as well, coming in and having the celebration and sort of honoring all these top talented players in the league. I think that's the highlight there.
All right. And Justin, did you attend Saturday also, or no?
No, unfortunately, I got caught in some traffic due to some unfortunate weather, and I couldn't make it. But I heard it was a great time. I spoke with the host of the evening, Erica Ayala, and she said it was so great. They had different panels, which included at one point Geraldine Heaney, head coach of the T6, Callie Fracken of the Boston Pride, Van Lahovey spoke, among others, and I heard it was fantastic, and it was great that the girls even had that experience the night prior, just to all gather, especially in such a legendary space, and kind of commingle before going head to head the way they did. So, sucked that I couldn't be there. I wish I could have been, but I heard it was a great way to start.
And Yamamit to Erica, a former FiredUp Network. She was here a few years ago, Erica, and she's doing big things for hockey and for lady sports in general. All right, Taylor mentioned, and she thought I didn't catch this. She says, hopefully more games will be played at Mattamy Center, formerly Maple Leaf Gardens. Do you want to elaborate, Taylor, or should we go to the media relations director of a professional ladies hockey team for that information?
Well, it's always a great spot, right? And even I think it was a consideration, even in their inaugural season, right? Okay, where is it going to be moved, right? And then you host something there, and it's okay, you sort of think about it, and they haven't announced playoffs yet either, so it's okay, right? So you just get thinking about all these just different possibilities, and they had it was a great event, it was a good weekend. So yeah, hopefully it's just
all right. She's not saying
more
it,
appearances.
Justin. She's not saying it, Justin. I'm going to put you on the spot because I already know. So, and I know you know. You know what I know, or I know more than you know, or whatever. All right, I'm putting you on the spot. She mentioned Playoffs haven't been announced yet. Playoffs at the Mattamy Athletic Center sounds, formerly Maple Leaf Gardens, sounds pretty good to me. Would it sound good to you? Are you confirming or denying? What do you see here? I know you look at his eyes. When he does that eyes, he goes, Joe, don't put me on the spot. I cannot let it out. The president, the commissioner is going to go on me or whatever. It's going to be announced on February 8th, my birthday. It's going to be announced in March. Come on, Justin.
So, I was at Kenland on Monday, bright and early, and I spoke with Commissioner Carey about, the prospects for a few minutes of what, really trying to see when the playoffs, I guess my question mainly was, when will the playoffs be? When will they end? That was a simple question to start. Now, there still seems to be no set locations. I mean, look, it's still early and we're just starting the second half of the season on Saturday. So, look, there's still plenty of time for that to come together. If, let's say, for example, that did come together. That being said, again, as of right now, there are no set spots. Would it be a lot of fun for it to be at the Mattamy Center? Yeah, I think having it right in the heart of the city would be a great idea. And now that we've seen what an event there looks like, I could see it. I could see a lot of fun. I could see youth teams filling the stands.
Taylor,
that's all I'm going to say for now.
What's this guy's first name? What's this guy's first name, Taylor? Can you tell me what's this guy's first name?
Joe, what is my first name?
What's his first name? Justin. What's the Prime Minister of Canada's first name? When you never could get a definitive answer from him also. I'm telling you right now, because I spoke to somebody, should I say, a great person who was here also. Justin, you know who I'm talking about. It looks like it's going to be in Toronto. Taylor has promised me if it's in Toronto.
Amazing.
Yes, and Taylor has promised me and Marty, if it's in Toronto and she's going to make the finals and all that, you don't get the ring. I get the Isabel Cup. Do you get a ring if you win the Isabel Cup?
Yes, we do.
Justin, does Justin get a ring?
I'm pretty sure.
Wait a minute. What has he done for that team? Does he skate? Does he shoot? Does he protect the net? What has he done for the team?
You know what? He's probably taken more shots than I did this season, so.
I won't say that, but do I protect other ends of the organization? Sure, but just not particularly the net.
All right. So talk about protecting the net this weekend. You got the Buffalo Buttes. And you know what? Buffalo this year has been playing not their typical, they're always on top of the standings. They're right now close to the bottom. So, Taylor, give us a sort of sneak peek what we can expect from T6 and the Buffalo Buttes for this weekend.
The Buttes have been going through their struggles. They just recently signed Sam Ridgewell, a former T6 goalie, just because Sauvier is out long term. She's out for the rest of the season due to injury. So they've just been trying to find just goaltending. So she's coming in. Maybe she's going to be playing. Maybe Tara Hoffman's going to be playing, and another T6 goalie. So we sort of know what they're like, where to shoot, how to sort of create havoc around them. So that's always going to be nice. And then, of course, Bucky, Michaela Grant-Mentis is coming back, right? So for her homecoming. So I'm expecting there's going to be quite a few people in the stands, and it's always going to be fun. I think even on our big ice surface, right, there's going to be a lot of puck movement, a lot of sort of creative skill, and a lot of offense. So it's going to be a blast. We should still come out with 2 wins.
So Marty Roberts has just chimed in. He's going to try to come in here in 5 minutes or whatever. But he has asked a very important question. Taylor, this is for you. Forget about the jersey for right now, he says. Will Taylor score this weekend? And will she donate the puck to Marty Roberts?
The puck might be hard to get, it just keeps going. And I did say, it's like, you know what, this is my weekend to score. Shooting the puck pretty well yesterday, or like this morning, and gonna go out on the ice again just to make sure, getting those reps in. So, and I think I said last weekend or 2 weekends ago that is like, hey, this is gonna be the time that I'm gonna score. So
is there like, I'll ask you, you're the player. You have no goals, but you win. Do you care that you don't score? You just win?
It's always fun scoring, right? I would pull out a definite like just the broomstick ride, across the ice.
So if you score, will you do that?
No, I
Justin,
probably
take a video of that.
I'll try.
What do you mean try? Come on.
If I remember it in the moment, then yeah, like sometimes just things happen. You don't know what your body's going to do after you score a goal.
Look, you got memory, you got everything. Come on, you're going to score. You're going to beat the Buffalo Buttes and all that. But look, Justin, okay, she broke it down. Justin, you're the media guy, okay? So I'm going to say this. Where do people purchase tickets, and what do they have to do? Toronto 6, because we're not talking about Buffalo. We're only for Buffalo Bills. But what does the Toronto 6 have to do to be victorious these two games, Saturday and Sunday?
Like Taylor said, you get familiar when you're shooting on your goaltenders during practice. In respect to both Tara and Sam, it's what you did all last season. So you know who they are, you know their habits, you know where to catch them. This is not news to you guys, and most of this roster has remained intact for the most part, minus like 9, maybe 10 of you guys. But anyways, aside from the point, this is backhand knowledge, and I think that now that even Sam's here, which by the way is great news in itself. I saw that last night. You know how to snatch them. The hard part is going to be Bucky, who started to heat up recently, getting around her. I think that's the challenge.
She's only one player. What do you expect her? She's not Wayne Gretzky.
I know all of her one-on-one moves. It's okay unless she pulls out something different. I already labeled.
So I'm going to ask you this, Taylor. Like, she's your good friend. She's a former teammate and all that. But are you going to drive her to the net? Like, are you going to put her up against the glass? Come on, you're a defenseman, man. You're tough, man. Are you going to just give her a shot?
I'll make sure I win my battles.
Have you ever lost a battle? You're the strongest lady in the PHF. Have you ever lost a battle?
No, not that I recall. So
See?
I'm fairly tough in the corners and in front of the net.
Tough in the corners,
which is a perfect assessment of who you as a player are. It just is. So
hold on.
That sounds pretty accurate.
Forget about Taylor assessing herself. Justin, give me a scouting report on Taylor. Go ahead.
She just said it. Hard and chippy in the corners. It literally is that simple. So yeah, I don't think you could have asked for more, because every team needs a player like that, and for us, we're lucky we have Taylor for that. So
you mentioned before Buffalo Buttes and all that, but you mentioned Boston Pride. Every year, it looks like there's a war between Toronto and Boston. At the Bruins coming in last night and beating the Leafs, with you guys losing in the finals and everything like that. Do you think, like, are they in your head, or Taylor, are they in your head, or it's just last year COVID and stuff like that? Can you beat, because it's going to come down to probably you and Boston anyways?
Well, it's just figuring out our game, right? So it's just, hey, like, we only had like 2 seasons together where they had, just a good core coming through. So it's like, hey, we're figuring out how we play in these situations, what we need to do. And I think that's it. So, nothing really in our heads. I'm just glad if it's going to be in the Gardens there, and I hope the Boston fans stay, because I'm ready just to give it to them, and also the Pride. But they came down to Florida last year, so you know what? Come up to Toronto and we'll give you a treat.
Yeah, especially when it's minus 50 this weekend. All right, so I gotta ask you this, Taylor. Okay, we mentioned you play defense, sometimes you play forward and all that. We have a question from Scott McDonald. Scott wants to know, what adjustment if you play defense to forward? Well, how big of an adjustment is it? He says.
It's not too bad. Like, coming from like a defense, like there's people back there, right? So yes, you have your defensive responsibilities. Like, your line knows that you're going to be that solid F3. But then when you jump in, it's just you have no fear, because you have all the defense back there. So when I come back, like having some sort of like maybe like a game on offense, I sort of find that you touch the puck a little bit more, you're skating around, right? You see a little bit different. So you just sort of establish that offensive defenseman type game, get into that shooting mode, knowing how the forwards are going to skate dynamically. So yeah, when it goes back and forth, I just think a little bit more offensively in terms of both, because that defensive style's there.
And how often, would you go offense to defense? Like, you take one shift on defense, do you take the other shift on offense? Or I guess it's up to the coach, right?
It's up to the coach. There's a couple times where it's like I switched probably about 3-4 times during the game, which is a lot. It's a lot on the team. But then mostly times it's like, hey, you know what? This is your position today. Okay, this is your position. Or like you change in a period or something.
And what position you like more, defense or offense?
I like jumping up to the rush. So like if I get the green light to be an offensive defenseman, then for sure, like I sort of love like quarterback type play, and then that mentality that you could go forward. But yeah, putting the puck in the net, sometimes you just want to just think about just going forward and not care about the D zone too much. So depends on the day.
All right, and Justin, where can people purchase tickets for Saturday, Sunday, and how are they doing ticket sales wise?
Yeah, tickets can be purchased at Toronto 6, which is 6ix.universitytickets.com. This weekend, I actually just took a look earlier this evening. Not bad. They're continuing to grow by the hour. So I think we're hoping for ideally about, I think it would be a fair assessment to say about 400 per game is what we're slowly climbing towards at this point. And we still have all of tomorrow to get there. So yeah, make sure that you're buying your tickets. Go to the Toronto 6 on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. There are links on all 3 platforms in order to buy your tickets. I believe it's also found on LinkedIn and at toronto.premierhockeyfederation.com. The Buttes are going to be a lot of fun this weekend. I also think we're going to win, but hey, you heard it here first. So yeah, come out and.
Wait a minute, you don't give predictions. I do. Ask Taylor. I've never been wrong in my predictions. I've never been wrong on my predictions. So Justin, give me a drum roll. Then we'll talk about NHL. What is that? That's not even a drum roll.
You get no audio. You get no audio.
Okay. Toronto 6 will win both games, and Taylor Woods would score her first goal dedicated to me and Marty for our birthdays. How do you like that, Taylor?
Which game?
Don't ask me these questions, man. It's not in my mind yet. I'm doing a show here. Relax.
That puts pressure on me, too.
Yeah, you put pressure on her. Come on, stop putting pressure on her. You're going to score a goal, tip it. All right, so let's get to the National Hockey League is in their All-Star game mode also in Florida. They got, all these stuff planned and everything like that. Justin, I'll start off with you. Do you like it? Do you like what they have planned? Do you like, or an All-Star game is an All-Star game. That's it. I don't want to work 15 hours again. How do you like that?
Hey, I loved every minute of the 14 and a half hours I was there, so I'm not complaining. Now, All-Star games. I'm not the biggest fan of All-Star games. However, that being said, I'm looking at what's going on in Florida, how today went, and honestly, it looks like a lot of fun. They had an event on the beach in the sun, and I don't know how they thought they were ever going to incorporate hockey in temperatures like they are, but it looks like it's a lot of fun, what they've got going there. So, there was something called beach splash spot or something like that. Again, literally right on the beach, and that included players being dunked into dunk tanks and all sorts of things. So I don't know. I guess it depends on the destination, the things that you have the ability to do, and what they're doing in Florida this weekend. It looks like it's going to be a great time. So I hope that that's true, and I look forward to watching it.
So, Taylor, as you could see in the bottom of the screen, Marty Roberts. By the way, Marty Roberts, first of all, you're supposed to be on this panel. That's number one. Second of all, Marty Roberts, quote, I'm going to use a good voice here, Taylor better score this weekend. What do you mean better score this weekend? If she doesn't score, what's going to happen to her, Roberts? What's going to happen? I want you to chime in here. Taylor wants to know also. You got more pressure from Justin and Marty Roberts than anything. Taylor, come on. Better score this weekend. Any rebuttal here?
I'll definitely score in warm-up for sure. So
warm-up doesn't count. Not even Justin scores on warm-up. Come on. Doesn't count. You need to score during the game. Look,
it's coming. It's coming.
Who did you say is the Buffalo Buttes goalie for Saturday?
They haven't said anything yet.
All right. Hocus pocus. Taylor Woods going to score on whoever the goalie is on Saturday. Finish. Finito. End of story. There you go. Justin, if this happens, not only do you owe me a jersey, a Taylor Woods, me and Marty jersey, you have to do an honorary night for the president of the provinces of Canada. How about that? If she scores on Saturday. Oh, Marty Roberts, I think, chimed in here. All right. This is what Marty Roberts says. Kipling will not show any love then if you don't score. All right? Kipling. All right? And Marty Roberts, we're still waiting for you. All right. So getting back to the National Hockey League, Justin, I'll start with you here. Unofficially, first half is over. What surprised you and what disappointment with whoever team? Forget about your team, Montreal. Any other team?
That's a good question. What surprised me? Okay, this is a good one. The Canes. They lost Max Pacioretty for I believe the rest of the season. I was really excited to see him kind of get back into the swing of hopefully being the player that he once was, but that's not going to happen. And I think we all know the Canes have been a really fun hockey team over the last 3-4 years specifically, and I really wanted to see what Pacioretty would add to that, especially on the offensive end, because we all know that when a player like him gets going, he's gifted and knows how to carry a team. So that's not going to happen. That sucks. But Vegas is in the same boat. Vegas was once a fun hockey team. Now they can't pull together. Speaking of not pulling it together, Mark Stone is gone. So what do you do when another leading offensive guy is gone? This is where you rely on your young guys and perhaps even make a call to the AHL. Now, that could be interesting because there are some really interesting young kids down there for the Vegas Golden Knights specifically. I would love to see their first ever draft pick, Reed Duke, get an opportunity. And I'm not saying that this is the right time for it, but nonetheless, it's something to consider. So I don't know. I think it's kind of interesting how, these teams who are now without key cogs, how they plan on either turning it around, or if they do believe in the mentality of, okay, what do we have to give? Let's tank. Now, most hockey teams don't think that way. Gary Bettman himself said, I don't believe in tanking or that our teams tank like a week ago, not even. So I'm kind of curious to see how this plays out from here for the second half of the NHL season. My question for Taylor, do you believe that NHL teams think about tanking? What's your take on this?
No, I don't. There's too many jobs on the line. So I don't think they're going to tank at all, even though it's hey, first round draft pick, Bedard, you're not going to tank.
Is there tanking in the PHF?
No.
It's just simply not a thing.
All right. So because of the teams and all that. So you talk about, unofficial first half, Carolina, great and all that, but can you believe, and we talked about the team we hate here in Toronto, Boston, with everything they have and losing players and everything and Krejci coming back and all that, what are they, 38-7-2 or whatever, 7 losses during a halfway season. Taylor, Boston Bruins, Boston Pride, Boston Red Sox, Boston, can you believe that?
Well, hey, they have the city to promote that and everything. And I sort of was reading about Marchand thing, and it's you know what, a lot of their players don't take big money, right? They know if there's someone that does, it sort of just trickles down, right? And they've had a good core coming in. You know what, they dealt with that sort of coaching thing, and it was talked about for 2 weeks, and then it was gone. People dialed in, people were there, and it's sort of hey, I think they sort of just have that heartbeat that they sort of go around. And of course, you see that goalie tandem, it's just that's unbreakable. And when the team has that, it's just momentum, right? So skills wise, they're there, but also just system and even just overall team wise, they have it.
Marchand was mentioning chirping, and he's one of the players who chirps the best. Ask Justin. He gave Justin a lick one year. But who chirps the worst in the PHF? Are you a chirper? Honestly,
I what last year? I had some pretty good chirps going on.
Justin's in the corner, you're giving him an elbow and all that. What do you tell them?
You can't put me in the spot like that.
What do you tell them? Seriously, what do you tell them? Come on.
Well, he's on the ice, so I don't think he would be able to hear me when I'm like calling. Well, I'm short enough, but like he's just gonna be on the ice. Like he's just gonna be dazed. So like, what am I supposed to do? Like every time I could chat, I could literally say, "Hey, the weather's nice," and he would just not respond.
He's dazed. But no, seriously, okay, who's the best chirper on your team, and who's the worst chirper in the league for the PHF?
Oh, on our team, we have some good people. I'm just trying to look at the locker room because, uh, you know what, E Woods is not too bad. Decor, uh, Taven could, I think she can. I just haven't heard her say anything to the other team.
So she'd only chirp your team.
Lexi is pretty good. She gets under our captain pretty well. And then Shy, you know what? Shy's chirps have came a long way. More it's been a little bit of pranking and more just the elbows, like, okay, I gotta keep up with these younger ones and making sure it's like, hey, you know what, I keep them in line. But yeah, she's been rolling out some good chirps.
All right, Justin, you probably hear all these chirps that they do. You're in the locker room and everything like that. What was the worst chirp you heard in the T6 or any locker room for hockey or anything?
It's funny. I'm actually not really around the locker rooms to hear much of this stuff. That being said, since you mentioned Lexi, I think she's just, I don't know, she's really witty. After the Buffalo series, there was a video that we posted, and Taylor, you were in this video. She runs past you and says, "Get me out of Buffalo." It was just very funny. She just has a way about her, so I'm not surprised that she would have a personality on the ice, too. That doesn't catch me by surprise at all.
Man, who wants to stay in Buffalo anyways, unless you're watching the Buffalo Bills? But
in fairness, it was the outdoor game, and it was, my understanding, freezing cold. But then again, we're having a week of that here, so that should be fun.
Listen, forget about tomorrow where it's minus 25 and Saturday. Wednesday, February 8th, the world's greatest day, my birthday, Marty Roberts' birthday. It is +8. +8! Justin, I expect a big time present from you, like a financial backing, since I got your career taken off like crazy. All right, Taylor, you score a goal on Saturday, I get your game check. How about that for a birthday present? Justin goes blank. See? Justin goes blank. See? There you go.
I'm back.
But Taylor, honestly, halfway through the season, and now we're all joking aside, but getting back to the second half and hopefully a championship run, Isabel Cup run, how satisfied are you in the first half, and what do you have to do in the second half to improve to get that Isabel Cup?
I just think we just have to come together as a team, right? Just making sure that all of our systems are in check, right? We have a good team morale, our chemistry's up, right? So when we're down, like, we can just keep fighting through and just sort of just figuring out a way, right? So all good teams sort of figure out a way. Just sort of like that Toronto and Boston game last night, right? Boston lost a few, and Toronto couldn't figure out how to get on a Boston team that's sort of edgy and gritty for a win. So you just got to figure out a way.
Just wanted to go to Cancun, or their mind was in Cancun. Look at Mitch Marner already doing Instagramming from Cancun.
Yep.
By the way, during the season, have you ever gotten a week off to go to Cancun?
No.
What's going on in this National Hockey League? Gary Bettman the Leafs have 10 days off. Then they come back February 10th, play in Columbus. February 11th, they play here against Columbus. By the way, yes, they have to play those games, but those games are free games. Those games are 4 points. Don't tell me they're not. It's like losing to the Montreal. Oh, well, they lost to the Montreal Canadiens last week. All right, so we'll close it out with this. Okay, Taylor, All-Star game, great. Justin has confirmed that it looks like the PHF is going to have the playoffs at Maple Leaf Gardens Mattamy Center. Justin
I never confirmed that. What are you saying?
Taylor. I'll go back. Taylor, didn't he say, see, he said, didn't he say he basically almost confirmed it? He talked to the commissioner on Monday. There was nothing settled and all that. Didn't he say that, Taylor?
I don't recall that actually.
No,
Listen,
I didn't.
I expect that from you. You were battling hard in the corners. You're getting ready to nail Bucky and all that. But Justin, seriously, like how good? And all kidding aside, it's not confirmed and all that. But how good would the Isabel Cup playoffs be at the formerly Maple Leaf Gardens, giving a championship to Maple Leaf Gardens and hopefully Toronto? Imagine. I spoke to, and you were part of these conversations, Justin, a year, 2 years ago with Digit Murphy, former president of Toronto Six. How good would it be to win a professional title in Maple Leaf Gardens before the Toronto Maple Leafs win anything? That is iconic, again, part of Maple Leaf Gardens.
Look, again, I think it's a fun concept, and it wouldn't exactly be a neutral site. Again, it's on the grounds of one of your teams. So again, this is probably going to be an ongoing conversation in the league offices for at least another month before anything becomes substantial or official for that matter. But yeah, it's certainly a fun concept, and I think it would be great. Again, it would be obviously the first championship there in a very, very long time. And what better than to do it in the heart of this city? I think that I just think that would be so much fun. So now, look, we'll see what the league comes up with this year, but whatever it is, it's bound to be exciting, and that's something that this league knows how to do really well. They've proved it the last 2 years, and in the meantime, let's just worry about what we have to do, and that's to make sure that the next couple of weeks that we really pound in those W's and put. I think we have to put away Minnesota, Connecticut, Montreal, and Buffalo over the course of the next month in order to achieve that.
All right, for those, and you probably could see the text, Marty Roberts is sitting on the highway being snowed in, so he will not join us. But Marty Roberts has also asked me to ask both of you, all right? First of all, what are you going to get him for his birthday? And second of all, since it's about 10 days away from Valentine's Day, he wants an opinion, Taylor. What should he get his wife? For that matter, what should I get my girlfriend? Justin, we know we don't want to hear from you because you probably get a lollipop. Taylor, go ahead. What are you getting Marty Roberts and myself for our birthday? And what would you get for Valentine's Day?
Okay, how about this? For Valentine's Day, you know what? Just a simple dinner, right? You go to a restaurant or you just make dinner at home,
So,
and
hold on.
that's good.
Don't say a simple dinner because Justin Levine will go to Young and Steele's at McDonald's.
A nice, just a nicer type dinner. So,
Nice to okay, Swiss.
and then I'm just gonna get you a gift certificate to maybe McDonald's or just something more fancy.
All right, so Taylor, I'm loving it. All right, that's it. Okay, so Justin, tell everybody how they could get a hold of you.
Yeah, you can get a hold of me specifically on Twitter at JustinVHBS, otherwise on all handles at the Toronto 6 and at the.Toronto6, I believe it is, on that's Facebook and Instagram, and on LinkedIn as well. It's at the Toronto 6. Make sure you're following along, and we've got another interesting couple weeks ahead of us. Catch all games on TSN and ESPN Plus.
And where can they purchase tickets for this weekend's game again, Justin?
Yeah, tickets again can be purchased at Toronto 6, which is 6ix.universitytickets.com.
And Justin, are you going to go on the line and say guaranteed both wins this weekend?
You know what? Look, Buffalo's got some good players, but we've got a roster of wicked talent.
I didn't ask you with what Buffalo had. I said, are you guaranteeing both wins?
I'm gonna say because on home ice it's what we do. Yeah, we're gonna take away 2 wins this weekend. Yeah.
All right, Taylor, Justin, sit down. Taylor,
am I guaranteeing us 2 wins?
No,
yes.
no. Forget about your guarantee. Are you guaranteeing? Are you making the president of the provinces of Canada, the mayor-elect of North America, the birthday boy in 6 days? Gonna make him proud. Don't make him look like a liar. You are gonna score on Saturday.
I'm already set. Like I already wound up my shoulders for that slap shot. So
I don't care if it's a slap shot tip and we'll go in front.
Or maybe it's not. Maybe it's just going to be a nice wrister. right? I do have a good snapshot coming through.
And
So
by the way, when you score, when you score that puck, give it to Justin. Justin will give it to me because that puck will go down as I made you score. I will have the biggest assist in the game. I will. Not only will you score, Justin. Listen to this. She will have the game-winning goal. If I'm wrong, Justin Levine will shave his head on the show next week.
Whoa.
You need a haircut. Don't you need a haircut, Justin?
Yeah, but not like that.
All right, well, I'll get Martin Roberts to cut your hair. Maybe it will be shaved or whatever. So, Taylor, again, now the pressure's on. You got to score for me. You got to score for the birthday boy. You got to score. And you got to score for Justin or else he goes bald.
wow, that's a lot.
That's a lot of pressure. And
This escalated actually pretty quickly. So
yeah, this just went from 0 to 100 really quick.
All right, so again, that's Justin Levine, Media Relations Director for the Toronto Six. The Toronto Six play the Buffalo Buttes Saturday and Sunday at Canlan Ice Sports in North York. Go out and support the Toronto Six. Great. I don't care if it's male, ladies. Great hockey. Taylor Woods, guaranteed. I will guarantee it. She's going to score. And Taylor, once you score, I'm going to text you. And by the way, forget about the McDonald's gift certificate. I get the puck. I get the jersey. I should be your new agent. You score because then, you know what happens Sunday? You're going to go on a roll. You won't score Sunday, but you'll score the week after. I'm telling you, once you get one, you always get two or three. Isn't that right, Justin?
Yeah, usually I think from what I've noticed at least. Look, I'm not a hockey player myself, but once you heat up, I just go one after the other. So don't put too much pressure on Taylor, but that first puck is going to go in like a nice glass case on a nice shelf, and that's how it's going to be. So
yeah, right here, not in her house. Now here's the other question. It's actually from a fan, and then we'll close it out here. It's from Danielle Murphy. Taylor, what was the greatest goal you have scored in your career?
Oh man, there's been quite a few.
There's been hundreds of goals, right?
Like there's one where I actually did almost like a Tiger Williams silly across the ice because I scored like my second or third shootout goal, but definitely having a hat trick at Cornell was nice during the semifinals to put us into the finals. So had the game tying and game winning goal. So either one of those were nice.
All right, so that was your greatest goal, and in fact, she's going to score another one this weekend. All right, any last comments, Justin and Taylor?
No.
All right.
2-6.
So go and support the Toronto Six this weekend. Taylor's going to score a goal. We're going to get the jersey. And Taylor, again, you're a big part of Fired Up Network and fam, and we all support you. And again, no pressure. If you don't score, Justin, just clobber Justin, give him a cross check and all that.
What? It's better than going bald.
Wait a minute. So Justin's coming on here next week with a black eye. Is that what he's saying?
Wow. So are you saying I'm not going to score?
Oh,
you're scoring because I will not come on with a black eye next week. It's that simple. So,
all right. On that note, I bid you adieu. We're going to have another interview here, but thanks a lot. That's Taylor Woods, PHF Toronto Six hockey player, and check out the Toronto Six at the Canlan Ice Sports in North York Saturday and Sunday as they defeat the Buffalo Buttes, and Justin Levine, the Media Relations Director for the Toronto Six. Thanks a lot, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks.
And what a pleasure to have Taylor and Justin on here. And we're going to close out the show with my good friend, Giancarlo Alino. He did an interview. Actually, hold on. Look who shows up right when I close this out.
I just got home, Joseph.
What do you mean? You're in the dark. What do you mean you got home?
I just got home. Ran up, hoping to
2
catch
seconds
Taylor,
ago.
Justin.
2 seconds ago, we just, and see, Marty, I tried to get your jersey. I tried to get a puck. I tried to get everything. She has confirmed that she will score a goal. Did you see that on nationwide international TV all over Sweden, Switzerland, Finland, Bangladesh, everywhere they see.
What about Australia?
Australia, yeah, they're sleeping at the time, half like Justin is. But Taylor says she's going to score a goal. Do you believe that, Marty?
I believe that.
All right. And is that goal dedicated to me or you?
It better be dedicated to me.
You. All right. So
Joseph, you need a haircut.
I don't need a haircut. Look at that.
You better have a haircut.
Take off your hoodie there. Come on.
I can't. I wore my hat all day.
Hoodie with a duty with a hoodie or whatever that guy's the singer is. Now I brought you on here to talk about Toronto 6, to talk about the All-Star game, but let's not talk about the NHL. Let's talk about your favorite player, Thomas, Edward, Brady, whatever, Junior, whatever.
Esquire, whatever the heck he is.
Yeah. He retired finally. And maybe next week he's unretired. Give me your thoughts on Tom Brady, and give me your thoughts. Then we'll talk about the Blue Jays, and then I'll throw it to an interview.
I think he probably would have retired last year if that guy didn't come out and say that he was going to retire before he announced it. And then he feels, no, I got to play one more year.
Yeah.
He didn't look the same this season as he did years past. So he's 45 years old. Like, I'm 50, just over 50, and I got to roll out of bed.
You're just over 50. I thought you're 60. You told me February 8th. We're sharing a birthday.
51, right? But figure it. He's 45, been playing in, 23 years or where the heck he was playing in the NFL? That's a lot of wear and tear on his body. So he's probably going to be happy. I think I saw he's not going right into the broadcast booth right away. Is that true?
Well, you never. Once you're making $300 million to be a reporter, I think you're going in the broadcast booth tomorrow.
Right? You would think, right? But obviously, he doesn't need the money. He's got enough money, but he's probably going to take some time here.
But don't forget the NFL season doesn't start till September, so he's got 6 months.
Yeah. It was funny. I was just having this discussion with my son the other day about announcers, play-by-play guys, and that in the NFL. They roll into town probably on Friday night or Saturday, do the game on Sunday, and then home by Monday. And they do that 17 times or whatever it is for the year, and they're done. And Romo gets millions of dollars. Brady's going to get millions of dollars for doing this 17, 18 times a year. That's a pretty good gig.
So are you saying that me and you should go out and talk about to CBS or Fox or NBC or Amazon or whatever?
Oh, we could talk all we want, Joseph. They're not going to answer our calls.
No, they will. I have the. Never mind. All right, Marty. So let's look at the Blue Jays, and then we'll throw it out here because I know I have to have you on at least for 5 minutes here. Okay. So the Blue Jays signing Chad Green. And looks like they got the dimensions of the new outfield and all that. It looks promising. The Rogers Center with renovating and everything like that. But let's look at Chad Green. What do you think he brings to the Blue Jays?
If he's healthy after the Tommy John. Now, there's two ways that Tommy John could go. You could look like Verlander after, or you can look like Ken Giles after. Yeah. Right? Ken Giles had it and he never recovered from it. So if Chad Green comes out of this healthy, it's usually 12 months.
Yeah.
He had it in June. So let's call July. He should be ready to go.
The second half. Yeah.
Right. So that's better than any acquisition they would make at the trade deadline. You have a guy that is I think it's 11.9 Ks per 9 innings. So he's got strikeout stuff. Yes, he's a little older now. His breaking ball isn't as sharp, but it's still good enough to get guys out. And his fastball is still 97, 98 miles an hour. That's a guy that they need it in their bullpen. It's just, is he going to be healthy come July? To me, the way the contract was $2.5 million, that to me shows that the Jays expect him in July, August area to come back. That's why they're only giving him about half of what he's getting the following year. But you got him for 2 years and possibly 4 years. depending on if they agree on contract. If not, then it's a 2-year deal at a higher value. If they agree, then I think it becomes a 3-year deal after the first year for like $21 million. I like this. Like, you now have Romano closing out games. You have Green, if he's healthy, will be there. Garcia, Swanson, Bass. And then you push Mazes. Yes, you're left. I still would like to see him get a different lefty, but I don't think that's going to happen. So their bullpen's looking like, you get to the 6th inning, this could be lights out, this bullpen now. Whereas years before, it's like we struggle. We'd have to bring in Richards or Simber or a Thornton. We're not going to have to see that. And Richards might be tough to be on this team once Green gets here, because I still think Pearson's going to be somewhere in this mix in the bullpen if he's healthy. So you look at that, you got 4 guys that have swing and miss stuff. And
so let me ask you. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
So let me ask you this: with the Blue Jays, for me, the question mark is still the outfield, but also take away that Bo Bichette. And they signed everybody except he does not want to take. Guerrero signed, right? He does not want. They go to arbitration and all that. And this is the 2nd year, or maybe even the 3rd year. Is there a problem with specifically Bo Bichette and the Blue Jays organization?
He obviously thinks that he's valued, his value is more than what the Jays are offering. Like, last year was his rookie contract, so they said this is what you're getting. He couldn't argue it, and he turned it down. Like, it wasn't going to arbitration. It was, here it was, and he said no to that. This was the first year he could go to arbitration. He's asking $2.5 million more than what the Jays were offering. I don't know. One side of me says that, to me, it looks like he doesn't want to be here. But the other side of me just says he just wants to get paid what he thinks he's worth. So the problem with going to this arbitration now is the Jays are going to say everything negative about him. Nothing positive is going to be said in this hearing.
Yeah.
They're trying to get him at $5 million. So they're going to say everything negative, and we'll see if Bichette takes that as a shot and says, I'm leaving as soon as I can, or does he just take it as, okay, that's the process and I had to hear it out? Well, I don't know. Like, I don't think he's, to me, I think the Jays win this arbitration hearing. I think he gets $5 million, but who knows? Like, he might, the arbitrator might side with him and he's $7.5 million. So then you're looking at, if you do want to sign him to a long-term contract extension, it's now higher than what the Jays were anticipating.
Yeah. Is this the prelude of probably getting traded, getting moved in the next 2 to 3 years?
Well, if the Jays, after this is done, and I'm sure they've been talking contract extensions with these guys anyways, and catching a feel what it would take, how long it would take, money-wise, all that. If they feel that they're not going to get him, he will be gone. It won't be this year. It might be, mid next year or near the end of next year to see maybe they can still work something out. But I think he just wants to get what in his mind is he's worth. Like, I think in his mind, he thinks he should be getting, elite shortstop money already. And he's only year 3 in the league.
All right. So before we continue on with the Jays, Marty Roberts, you text me for here and Justin and all that. You have breaking news on an All-Star game in next year, the NHL All-Star game. Not Elliot Friedman doesn't have this news. Justin Levine does not have this news. Marty Roberts, go ahead and break the news that you have.
Well, I believe the All-Star game is going to be, for the NHL, is going to be the same spot that the ladies had their All-Star in Toronto.
And not at the Mattamy Center.
Not in Mattamy, at the Scotiabank Arena.
Marty Roberts, everybody chime in here. Everybody watching us from around the world. From around the world. Marty Roberts has chimed in here and said, more than likely, Scotiabank Arena hosting next year's All-Star game.
This is my sources, and sometimes my sources are good, sometimes they're not, but they're pretty confident on this one, and we'll see how good they are.
Now, getting back to baseball, you also sent me an email or sent me a text saying, I know it's a couple years away, but you also have found out your Marty Roberts. This is why I pay you the big bucks. It must be your birthday since I'm putting you over all the time. We share the birthday here. All right. You have heard something about Major League Baseball. Go ahead.
Well, what you want to hear what they think about expanding to, or?
Well, give us both. Give us the breaking news.
I've heard that it's they're looking at Las Vegas and Nashville.
All right, that's that.
I'm surprised Nashville hasn't been before now. Anyways, like that's one of the bigger cities in the United States.
Yeah.
I'm surprised that I see why Las Vegas wasn't there, because before this, betting was a no-no, and they didn't want any sports around in Las Vegas, right? So, but now it's there's NHL there, there's NFL there. Next, I believe MLB will be there.
All right, so you're saying Vegas and Nashville. And by the way, Steve Carney, I tried to get him, but he's on the way to Houston for Major League Baseball meetings and all that. But it looks like Tampa is going to revamp their stadium or have a new stadium or anything like that.
Are they going to be paying Steve to paint the roof?
Well, I think Steve's already on the roof. He's on his podcast is Under the Orange Roof. He's already there. But it looks like Tampa has that. Now, you have heard also other news about Major League Baseball All-Star Game?
All-Star Game might be making another appearance somewhere close to the Toronto Blue Jays.
What do you mean close? In Buffalo?
Okay, well, we'll say in where the Toronto Blue Jays play.
All right. So you're telling – wait, hold on. I'm paying you really good money here. All right. So you're saying Las Vegas –
My sources took all the money you gave me, Joseph, to give me these little tidbits.
The sources you said had to have a haircut. All right. So you're saying Nashville and Vegas are on the list for potential expansion. You're also saying Toronto will get an All-Star Game again at the newly revamped Rogers Center. When did you hear this? What year?
What year should we say, Joseph?
Daryl Sittler.
27. We'll say 27.
That's your sources have said that 27. They just said
here's the thing. So they'll get that All-Star Game maybe 27. That's about what they say 3 years to do the renovations fully. Yeah. So that'll be the first year after the renovations are all supposed to be completed. And then they want to talk about a new stadium they were talking about. They hope this takes them to 10 years.
Yeah.
So we could have another All-Star Game 5 or 6 years after that.
I wouldn't say maybe 10 to 12 years after that, but again, big things are happening, and hopefully soon the Blue Jays capture again another World Series. Would be nice to hang up a banner or new Rogers Center, or revamp Rogers Center, and everything like that. And again,
the way they are this year, Joe, that the rosters configured, the bullpen, the hitters, the defense. To me, they're winning the AL East. And if they don't,
they knock on wood that nobody gets injured.
Well, and that's the big thing. That's always the big thing for sports, right? Is injuries. If something does, at least they have Atkinson, Shapiro, have some guys that they can trade away to get some pieces of, like Springer. We haven't seen him play a full season yet. Kiermaier gets hurt. Varsho is pretty healthy guy. But you still have, Witt that'll be there that can go in the outfield. They got, Espinal, Biggio, all trade trips they can use if something does not work out in their favor. So, I love this lineup. I really do. I know some people don't like it. Oh, Hernandez, we want Hernandez. You know what? Hernandez had one exceptional year. That was his 30 and 107 or where the heck it was.
Yeah.
He's never had that again. He strikes out an awfully lot. His defense is terrible, and his base running is terrible. You've upgraded that.
Yeah.
So, guy like Varsho is going to win games for you with his glove, whereas Hernandez was losing games with his glove.
And let's face it, the pitching is on paper way better than last year.
And you look, and we talked about this before. You got the their first four guys are pretty solid, right? You got, if Barrios comes back and pitches the way he's capable, which all indications are he will. Like he's never had a year like that, and we'll see if he can rebound for it. But yeah, it looks like he'll be Kikuchi if he's your 5 guy. Well, come September, Ryu's going to be back.
Yep.
So if Ryu is back and Kikuchi's just doing what he did last year, you now can slide Ryu in there in your 5 spot for the month of September and see what happens there. So there's lots of things here that can happen with the Jays. Hopefully it's all good. Like you said, injuries are a big part of sports, and the Jays have some guys that get injured. So let's hope that they don't.
I have to touch on this because for you, Marty, you're like me, a little bit of a bigger guy. Who in the blue hell is this analyst from Major League Baseball saying Alek Manoah is out of shape? He can't pitch because he's out of shape and all this. Like, I don't even know who this guy is, all right? Speaking as a, I'm a little bit big, all right? A little bit big, okay? Speaking, but losing all the time. I got a wedding to plan for, all right, Marty? Come on, I got to I'm like other people who stay in the washroom all the time. All right, so like, he's gone, but now he's back. All right, so what is going on here? Alek Manoah, first of all, a rookie, and pitched amazing. I don't care if the guy's 300. David Wells was 250, 300 pounds. I don't care if the guy's 300 pounds. His job is to pitch. His job is to intimidate the opposition, which he does very well. Marty, go ahead.
Yeah, I don't know where that guy got that from. Well, I just saw a clip of it on Twitter after Manoah ripped him a new one after saying that. I don't know who the guy is. I know he played in the MLB a little bit. No idea why that comment came up. It's not like you're going to throw darts at Manoah because he was had a crappy year. A Cy Young candidate. Yeah. And you have an all-star and you decide to say these things about, you don't know Alek Manoah personally. You don't know what he does, how he does it in the weight room in an off season. So, Manoah's right. The guy should just shut up and stop trying to get, likes on his comments or get views. It's sort of like the guy that in the NFL, that former running back saying that the NFL is scripted. Now everyone has gone off saying the NFL is scripted when it was sort of like tongue in cheek that he was saying it as a joke.
If NFL was scripted, the Buffalo Bills would win this year. All right. So, and by the way,
but the guy with Manoah was just it was out of. It wasn't called for, and I know he's trying to backtrack now. And I love you, Alek, and all that. You know what? Manoah obviously does the proper things as to what's being. And you know what, Alex, if he doesn't, he'll do something else to get better at it. But you can't call it a guy saying he's too big to pitch because, like you said, CC Sabathia was a big boy too. There's lots of guys that are big that can pitch. And it doesn't mean that they're out of shape. They're still in shape. It's just they're a bigger guy. And for that to be called out, I don't know why he did that.
It's incredible stupidity, right? He's there to pitch. He almost won the Cy Young. He's a rookie. He goes in the tough. He won in New York. He won in Boston. He won in all these places. And don't forget, if the season starts, probably Manoah's the number 1 starter.
Well, yeah. And you know what? There's guys out there, too, that will make comments that a guy's too skinny. Oh, this guy's too skinny. Dude, make up your mind what you want. Like, if the guy can play, he plays. It doesn't matter if he's big, small, medium, whatever. If he can play, he plays. It's simple as that. These guys still, like I said, they take care of themselves. They take care of their arms. They take care of their legs. They take care of all that in the off season. Just because he doesn't see it doesn't mean that Alek Manoah isn't doing it.
All right, Marty Roberts here. We're going to close it out. I got a question to ask you. February 8th, the world's greatest day, is my birthday. What are you getting me for my birthday?
I'll have to think about that, Joseph. I might get you a toque just to cover that hair.
What's wrong with my hair, man? What do you're watching my hair like you watched William George's hair all the time.
It's taking the whole screen up, Joseph.
That's taking a whole screen. At least my screen, there's color in it instead of black and white there, all right? So you watch my hair like you're watching a guy named William George, man. Come on, stop watching the hair. Stop watching the eyebrows and all that. And by the way, a shout out to William George, because I hear the week after our birthday is his birthday. But his birthday, it shouldn't be said because February 16th is the, you know whose birthday is February 16th, Marty?
Who?
My sister who has a calendar for you in Florida, but you don't want to pay.
I keep hearing these rumors. I don't see them.
But you don't want to pay shipping and handling for it.
No shipping. Hey, if you give me a raise, I'll pay for shipping and handling.
Well, I have somebody at FedEx. You know, listen. All right, Marty. So I'm going to ask you this, okay? Also, in 2 weeks, it's Valentine's Day. You're a veteran. You're married how long? 25 years?
25 years it'll be, yep.
25 years, all right? So I want to know, for Valentine's Day, am I right or wrong? If I'm going to do something for Valentine's Day, my significant other should be providing me an amazing birthday present before I do anything for Valentine's Day. Is this correct?
You know what? You're asking to get yourself in trouble now, Joseph.
What trouble, man?
You're asking to get yourself in trouble.
I'm saying,
Joseph.
but Marty, February 8th is before February 14th, correct?
But you don't give because you got. You just give because you love.
Wait a minute. That's a new saying. Say it again. People need to hear that. Say it again.
Hey, you don't give because you get. You give because you love.
You don't give.
That's going to be a bumper sticker.
Wait a minute. You don't give because you get. You give because you love. What if the person loves you? You need to get and give because they love you.
Maybe not.
Your wife, 25 years. What is she getting you for your birthday? Seriously, what do you want for your birthday, February 8th?
She might be just giving me a kick in the ass for my birthday.
Well, that you had it 25 years. You need something new there. Like seriously.
I think that's a regular on every birthday is a slap in the side of my head saying, Marty, why do you act like that?
Well, can I give you that? Or there's your birthday present. All right, Marty. Anything else you want to touch on before we leave this segment?
No, I saw Mr. Mixon from the Cincinnati Bengals.
Yes,
is wanted for pointing a gun at a lady, which these guys don't get it. They just don't. Like
me and Drew talked about with this Black History Month segment. Like since COVID, we had, and you know this TTC, but somebody steals a car and drives through Vaughan Mills, breaks.
It just nothing surprises me anymore. Nothing surprises me anymore.
Unbelievable. But Marty, here, I'm going to ask you. We're 1 week away from the Super Bowl. Kansas City and the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, I know this. This has been told to me by several sources. Do you know what color Kansas City and the Eagles are going to wear? Because it's very significant here. It will affect your betting. Kansas City is going to wear white. The Eagles are going to wear green. The team who has wear white, 15 out of the last 18 Super Bowls have won and covered.
Who's wearing white?
Kansas City.
Wow. I saw a tweet today that the guy for the last, 7 Super Bowls has got it right, and he picks the Eagles this year.
Well, 15 out of the last 18, the team who's wearing white has won and covered the Super Bowl. Kansas City is wearing white. The guy who gets last 7, Drew Ebanks, loves the Eagles. Last time the Eagles were in the Super Bowl, Kaka, yeah, he's Kaka. All right, and I know you have to go because you have to do Kaka. But the Eagles, last time we went out and we watched the Super Bowl, he credited me for making his team win the Super Bowl. Now this year, he's not going to be with me for Super Bowl. That means the Eagles are going to lose. All right, give me your prediction right now. I'll ask you next week. Give me your prediction: Kansas City or Philadelphia?
Well, with 2 weeks off, that is a big benefit to Mahomes. Like he couldn't do anything really. Ran for the last 45 seconds of the game where he got pushed out of bounds and another 15 tacked on. But you could see he couldn't throw off, couldn't put any weight on that foot. He was throwing on one leg the whole game. Him being 2 weeks off and recovering from that high ankle sprain, I think Kansas City wins this.
All right, I'll ask you that question next week. And what's your favorite prop pick? Because I know you're watching them.
I don't. You know what? I always like doing the quarterbacks. The quarterback props are always the ones I like doing. But 2 weeks ago, I got screwed on with the San Francisco Purdy because they decided to run the ball more than they wanted to throw the ball.
No, he got injured the first quarter, so that's why.
This was 2 weeks ago, not for this last one. I didn't take him for this 2 weeks ago when they were facing. Who did they face 2 weeks ago?
Dallas.
Dallas. Yeah, they ran the ball an awful lot against Dallas. You know what? That's a bad way to go with San Francisco, not having a quarterback.
Yeah,
like lose three quarterbacks.
Jimmy G is not going to be the quarterback for San Fran next year either. So, and now Tampa's going to look for a quarterback. And today, Aaron Rodgers says maybe he's going to be reunited, and it feels so good with Davante Adams back in Las Vegas.
There's Carr's on Las Vegas. Where's he going to go?
Yeah.
You got Rodgers, you got Jimmy G. Like there's a few quarterbacks out there that are going to be looking for a spot, and we'll see who gets them because there's a few teams that need quarterbacks. One of them is mine, but they say they're going with the rookie next year. That's every time someone, I guess, for the offensive coordinator position, they keep saying that that kid's going to be the quarterback next year.
Well, we'll see what they do in the offseason. And again, and by the way, for people who have emailed me, the XFL, yes, the Rocks XFL begins on Saturday, February 18th. So the Super Bowl Sunday, February 12th. That next week after Saturday, the XFL begins. Are you interested in the XFL?
No.
All right. On that note, Marty, we're going to throw it to.
I'm not gonna. It's just to me. It's almost like how the CFL is to me. When you go to the game, it's too much of like a high school atmosphere, and I'm not I don't enjoy that. Like the NFL, the NFL, what they do works. So I don't know why other organizations don't try to do the same thing the NFL does.
Yeah, well, it should be, but the NFL is, they have a lot
of
money.
It's scripted. Yes, it's scripted.
It's scripted and everything like that. So, again, that's Marty Roberts. Great to have it. And, Marty, if I don't speak to you, because next Thursday is the next Fired Up Live, and our birthday is Wednesday, I'm expecting a big-time check and a big-time cake.
I thought we were going to watch Taylor score her first goal this.
That's Saturday. You want to go? Go. If you're going to go, I'll go, and we collect our jersey.
Well, and after she scores, she's going to go to the net, pick the puck up out of the net, and throw it into the crowd to us.
No, give it to me, not throw it. I don't. I said to give it to Justin, but no. I don't trust that guy, Justin. Like, he's a Montreal Canadian fan. I don't trust him.
I heard him say on the way home, I'm driving home, and last week I brought up with him about playing at Maple Leaf Gardens. And he says, "Oh no, the atmosphere at York University is great." Now all of a sudden, I think he's changed. I think he wants it at the Maple Leaf Gardens.
That's what happens when you work 14 hours for popcorn. So that's it. That's what he said. He worked 14 and a half hours last Sunday at the Mattamy Center, formerly Maple Leaf Gardens. I know you watched the All-Star game. Do you want to make any comments about it, Marty?
I watched it on and off. I did. I was bouncing back and forth between it. I'm not a fan of, even with the NHL doing this, breaking up into teams and then you play these little mini games to play. For some reason, I just don't. I don't enjoy that. I don't know why. I prefer just to see the two teams like they used to do back in the NHL days and just play those two like that. I don't know why I'm not a fan of.
And the best All-Star game, let's face it, is Major League Baseball, because we got the Pro Bowl and they do mini games and hockey, like we talked about, and then this weekend and they have.
Well, yeah, baseball's the only one that truthfully stays to the same as what the league usually plays. Yeah. Like hockey and the All-Star game, no one hits. Football's got to be the worst.
Yeah.
It's a sport that is just strictly contact, and there is no contact. And in the NBA, no one plays any defense.
Yeah.
So baseball's the only one that's close enough to what their regular games are to at least keep it somewhat exciting. And the home run derby is probably one of the more exciting events out of any of the All-Star games.
That's right, and that's a spectacle itself, because every year you don't know, and they hit 30, 40 home runs, and then they can't hit in the second round 2, 3, right? So but baseball is definitely the best All-Star game and All-Star festivities.
Did Justin say how many people were at the Mattamy Center?
No, he did not. He said they're hopefully for this weekend, the one you're going to, they're going to have 400 people
At York University?
Yeah.
That's not a bad crowd for York University.
It's not a bad crowd. It's but go out and support ladies hockey. It's good action. It's and for people who say, "Oh, it's at York University," the subway's right there. So
you just get out. You get off at Pioneer Village and you walk right across, probably about 200 yards to the arena. It's not a very far walk at all. So it's easy to get to. The Steeles bus stops right in front of the arena.
Yeah.
The 108 bus, which is the Downsview Driftwood bus, it stops right in front of the arena. So there's many ways of getting there. And it's right off the highway. 407, 400, it's not far away.
Wow, you know all these buses. Wow, surprising.
You would think I work for the company or something like that.
Yeah, you work for the Toronto Six. You're Kipling. All right. And that's Marty Roberts. Marty, in case I don't speak to you on air, just say I want to say have a happy birthday, and I'm expecting my check. All right?
Joseph, you too.
All right. Marty, the next week we'll sing happy birthday together. All right?
Okay, we will.
All right. Thanks a lot, Marty.
All right, Joseph.
Take care. So we're going to close this out. Our good friend Giancarlo Olino conducted an interview. You can't see it. You're going to be able to hear it with Bellator superstar. Okay, for Bellator 290 that happens on Saturday. And here is Carlos Gonzalez.
Everybody, this is Giancarlo Olino reporting for the Fired Up Network, and I'm happy to be joined by my guest today, who's going to be talking about his upcoming fight at Bellator 290. He's been a guest on here before. We're happy to catch up with him again. He is Chris Gonzalez. How you doing, Chris?
I'm good, man. How you doing?
Doing great. And Chris, you're getting back here in the Bellator cage. It's going to be a big event there on CBS, making their network debut. How did you find out about this fight? And I guess what was your reaction when you found out you're going to be on this debut card on CBS?
Yeah, I'm really proactive when it comes to getting fights and things of that nature. So it wasn't like I found out out of right field. I'm usually the one hitting up Bellator, kind of just asking when I'm going to fight, just getting that itch. It doesn't usually take too long, especially coming from that wrestling background where you're used to competing on a regular basis. You know what I mean? Training is cool and all, but, as athletes, we live to compete. So I found out as soon as I was hitting them up before that I was even probably on their mind. And they sent me a couple names. They didn't work out for a couple of different reasons. And they came back with my current opponent. And I accepted the fight right away, and here we are.
Yeah, and this is a fight. Your last one was in July of last year. You fought twice last year, January and July. So is this another year that you're expecting maybe 2 fights, or is it 3? Like, how active would you like to be this year?
Yeah, no, I definitely want to be more active. Fighting twice a year hasn't been for any fault of my own. That's just what I've been getting offered up to this point. But my last contract negotiation, I negotiated where they have to offer me at least 3 fights a year. So hopefully I'll be able to at least get the 3 in. And, if I'm healthy and everything's going well, I don't see why I can't get, up to 4 and maybe even 5. Who knows?
Yeah, and just your last fight there, too. It's not like you came out with the defeat, but it was against now the Bellator lightweight champion, Usman Nurmagomedov. Just what did you learn about him in that fight, and what are you hoping to correct going into your next fight?
Yeah, I mean, I can't really say that I took away too much. The first couple of minutes, it was just a feeling out process. I don't know if either one of us landed more than 1 or 2 strikes. I exploded in. We got into a over-under position. He tripped me. I came up kind of lackadaisically and he jumped on my neck. I didn't respect it. I went to pull out, not realizing that the cage was right behind me. And when I pulled out, the cage was right there, and he sunk up a really, really deep darts with no arm in there, and we were super dry. So I didn't. There was no exit for me. I tried to spin in, and he just had it locked up. So I guess what I learned is just making sure that I have more cage time going into the fight. I didn't do too much sparring in a cage. It was more on an open mat. So moving forward in my career, not only this fight, definitely implementing more cage work just so I can have that cage awareness while I'm in the cage,
Yeah, and you're going to be fighting Max there February 4th at Bellator 290 in this arena. It's a famous arena, a stacked card here. So what are you looking at in your opponent here and Max?
Yeah, I mean, I've done my fair share of research. There's not a ton of film out there on him. He's still relatively new into his career. He hasn't fought a ton of high-level competition or anything like that for me to get a great idea of where he's, where his strengths and weaknesses are. Obviously, he's a collegiate-level wrestler. I want to say he was an NCAA qualifier, so he's a high-level wrestler. He trains over with Danaher and those guys, so I know his jiu-jitsu is probably pretty good. Outside of that, though, obviously I'm super confident with my wrestling as well. I have just as higher level pedigree wrestling right there, so I feel I don't need to worry about that too much. But yeah, I just want to showcase, all my skills. I'm a mixed martial artist. I'm working tirelessly every day, mornings, afternoons, and nights to close those gaps and just become the most well-rounded version of myself that I can be. And, February 4th, I'm going to put that on display for you guys.
And yeah, this fight there is, like we mentioned, the Kia Forum. And what does it mean to you to be fighting in California? Does this just add extra motivation there? I know Team Alpha Male is in Sacramento. So is this extra motivation for you fighting in California?
No, I mean, if the location of where you're fighting is going to be your motivating factors, you're probably in the wrong line of work. So no extra motivation. I'm plenty motivated. It just means that I'll be able to have a few more friends and family out there, or a few more friends. I'm not from California, so I'm actually from Chicago. But just having been here for the last 5 years, I've got a really good support system out here, and I got a ton of friends who will definitely come make the trip out and, be in my corner cheering for me. So it'll be awesome to have some friends out there supporting.
And who's going to be in your corner for this fight?
So right now, my 2 corners that I have for sure is going to be Uriah Faber over at Team Alpha Male. I don't really think he needs an introduction. And then Coach Fabio, who's one of our Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu coaches over here at the gym as well. So I'll have those 2 with me. I might be adding a third. I'm not sure yet, but I'll have those 2 with me for sure.
And Bellator also made that announcement, the lightweight Grand Prix going to be taking place. And just what were your thoughts at some of the names in there? And from the outside looking in, who do you see winning that tournament? And now that if you're hoping to be active, those could be some appealing matchups in the future if you rack up the wins there.
Yeah, 100%, man. I definitely think that I could have easily been inserted into that tournament too, but I can't really be too mad with the people that they chose. At least they chose people who I feel like truly deserve to be in the tournament. I don't have any issues with the people that they chose outside of the fact that they didn't choose me. With that being said, I know I'm right there. I hit up. I got in contact with the people I needed to get in contact with on the Bellator side and let them know that I'll stay ready. I'll be ready to be a fill-in. Injuries happen. I think they've happened throughout each Grand Prix so far, so I made sure to hit them up. As soon as I saw that, they had already come out with that roster for the Grand Prix. And hopefully my name's at the top of the list. I can go handle business in a couple of weeks and then, see how the cards fall, and maybe I'll get an opportunity to slide in there and make some noise. But as far as who I think is going to win the tournament, if I had to pick my horse in the race, I'd probably lean towards either Usman or Tawfiq Musayev. I think that's how you say his last name.
Yeah.
Both of those guys are super high level, super well rounded. They've got plenty of experience, so I feel like they probably got the best chance right now.
Should be exciting there. And what final questions here? Just before we let you go here, I'd be remiss if I don't ask you this. Prior to your last fight, you got an interesting cameo message from Ric Flair, who called you a limousine riding, jet flying, kiss stealing, wheeling dealing son of a gun. What was your reaction when you saw that video pop up and a cameo from Ric Flair?
Yeah, that was pretty badass, man. Super unexpected. Shout out to my boy Jim Clark over at Tower Legal. Always supporting and trying to give me any extra motivation that he can. I appreciate you, brother. It was awesome just to have that message from a legend like Rick. It just I think they sent it to me at like 7 a.m. I was walking my dogs and I got it, and it just added a little bit of fuel to the day. It got me motivated, kind of got the blood flowing. It was tight. Ironically, I actually ran into Rick about a month ago at the airport. I had a little layover in Vegas, and I don't know if he was boarding his flight or had a layover too, but I was just grabbing some food, and he sat right next to me at this restaurant, and I actually got to play the cameo for him, and he got a good kick out of that. Obviously, he does tons of them, and anybody can get them done, but it was cool. I grew up watching him do his thing, so it's a once in a lifetime type of thing that happened. So it was pretty cool.
That's awesome. And before we let you go here, how can our viewers and listeners here at the Fired Up Network follow you on social media and stay up to date with everything you're doing?
Yeah, so if you're interested in seeing how I'm living, how I'm training, and how I'm eating and things like that, you can follow me on Instagram at CGZDream, DREAM. That'd probably be the best way to keep up with me. I'm not on Twitter or anything like that, so give me a follow on Instagram and stay tuned. And hope you guys are ready for a show February 4th.
Highly recommend that follow. And Chris, I appreciate you sharing your time here, coming on Fired Up Network to talk about your upcoming fight there at Bellator 290. And I wish you all the best, man.
Appreciate you, brother.
Well, that was an exclusive interview with Chris Gonzalez. He fights his opponent Bellator 290 in Los Angeles Kia Forum on Saturday. Thank you to Giancarlo Lino for it. That will conclude our show for tonight, the flagship show of the Fired Up Network, Fired Up Live. Thank you to Courtney Riddle, the Renaissance Mama. Thank you to Drew Ebanks, who we did that special segment on Black Lives Matter. Thank you to Taylor Woods, Justin Levine on We the Six, and go out support the Toronto Six this weekend at Canland Ice Sports in North York as they take on the Buffalo Buttes. And good luck to Taylor on hopefully scoring her goal on Saturday. Thank you to Marty Roberts, who appeared, and thank you, like I just said, to Giancarlo Lino. Now, I started off the show. I just want to say once again, happy birthday to Jack Casassi today, tomorrow, Norm DaCosta and Howard Berger. Saturday, Nina Benbihi. Monday, Alan Small. Wednesday, Daniel Spencer, Marty Roberts, and myself. And February 9th, my cousin, Heather, and also Courtney Riddle, Renaissance Mama. Leaping Lenny Poffel passed away today, the genius in the WWE. So again, tragedy has been following the world of professional wrestling. Till next week, hopefully you have a great, safe week. We will not be doing a soccer show tomorrow. Not doing a soccer show tomorrow. But stay tuned for more great programming here on the Fired Up Network.